Champions, I'm actually on time. Look at that. Just past the minute. G'day, champions. Sorry, I got to start with my copyrighted phrase there. How we are going. Jeez, I can't even speak. How are we all going? What's happening? First time catching a live stream. Have I got a treasure trove of information for you? What's going on, legends? Where are we? Give us a weather check. It's raining reasonably heavily here for Western Sydney anyway. New Zealand. New subscriber. G'day, Kev the windsurfer. Mad. You know, I was out swimming, I think it was at Surf Beach. I know, it's a very unoriginal name for a beach. I was swimming at Surf Beach, South Coast, New South Wales, and someone had one of those, I don't know what you call them, auto foil, something foil. It's like a surfboard that's got a fin and then a wing, and it was electric. It had a motor on it. So here's me just swimming up and down the beach, and this dude's punching it around with a remote control. It's like a hoverboard for the water. Yeah, I've never seen one of them before. I knew you could get them, but I didn't know you could get like electric ones. And I was just keeping an eye on him, making sure he didn't just surf straight into my head. Looked pretty cool though, because when he got a bit of speed up, he'd be floating like a foot above the water. Because obviously the wing's got an angle to it, so when you're going, it's giving you upward thrust. Yeah, wonder what they cost. It might have been a higher thing, I'm not sure. Swimming with sharks? Nah, don't worry about it. You just punch them in the nose. They know their place. Dick Samps, have a good one. Can't make the stream, but I'll watch it later. Alright, I'll just say g'day, future Dick Samps. Whenever you get a chance to watch it. How you going, mate? But it's not 7, it's 21 here in Denmark. Yeah, well, that's how time zones work. Just started snowing a few minutes ago, but it's been pretty cold for a while. I reckon it would be cold if it was snowing. Dustin, how you going, mate? Hello, lads. Probably got to dip soon for a bit, but hey, fucking blizzardly here in Winnipeg. Still copping blizzards. Heard it's a very, very cold winter this year. Hydrofoil, that's it. That sounds right. I'll take your word for it. Dick Sam's still here. Oh well. Maybe I can convince him to stay. Forget about it. Just clear your schedule, champions. It's my first live stream back in the workshop for the new year. So this week's been spent just basically wandering around like a mucus-covered foal, trying to find how to stand up again and trying to figure out if anything's going to kill me or not. The first week is always not that productive because I spent a whole day responding to emails and people get upset if you don't answer their email within 20 minutes. But yeah, it's just answering emails, looking up stuff for people because apparently people can't Google it themselves, and ordering parts for the jobs in the queue. Stocking up on just stock for the store, and figuring out what priority things are, what's the most overdue essentially, and what I should put priority on, and what parts we need for that. There's been a few things that require specialist parts that there seems to only be one place on the face of the planet for. Fortunately, one of them was in, I don't know if it's Sydney, but in Australia. And that is this guitar right here, which happens to be a pretty dirty Mexican baritone Telecaster. So looking for a pick guard. This pick guard's all warped. It's like the it's like it's been exposed to heat. You can see how it's got the grilled cheese thing going on. I could probably file out some relief for those pickups because it seems to have shrunken this way. And it's getting pretty close to the screws there, but yeah, you could probably file some relief in it, but I don't have any confidence that I could flatten that out using heat or any other means. And it looks a bit manky. Not great pickups, they're just the ceramic stocky ones. Pretty sure all the Mexican and Japanese fenders come with pretty crappy ceramic pickups these days, which sucks. I used to have Alnicos in there. But, you know, the frets are pretty corroded. I just did a ES335 for the same client. The frets were like seriously green and crusty, so they came up really good after a hand polish. But yeah, it's really fun to play a baritone. If you get a chance, give it a go. I know you probably don't need to add another guitar to your collection, but you know, don't worry about what your significant other says. Just go for it, champions. You only live once. Morning, Mum. How you going? What's on the agenda for this stream? Oh, come on, mate. I'm not that organised. Omelette Socks. Cool name, by the way. Brad, can I ask you a cab-related question after in the comments section? You can ask it right now if you want. Offset Guitar Tech. It's only January. We have winter here till March. Been a warmer, heavier precipitation winter. Yeah, I've seen the snowfall that people have sent me. It's looks like it's been pretty intense this winter. We wouldn't want to be in a tent, so not that intense. A few degrees Celsius here too. Snowy out a couple of weeks, vanished overnight. Early bird catching the worm again, huh? 9 AM here in New Zealand. Yeah, you guys are ahead of us. It must be 6 AM. Nah, 7 AM over here. It'd be 6 AM in winter. Oh, hi, Dad. I missed your comment. Oh, no, you're under it. Sorry, the chat jumps up and down because YouTube's an idiot. Martin Reed, good evening from Scotland and all watching. We went out for dinner last night and it was a family thing. And I had a Lafrague 10 and some of the family members there hadn't tried it yet. So I said, yeah, have a sip. I want to try it out. And they're like, and we're passing it across the table to each other. And because it's so strong, they're smelling it as you smell it as you pass it over because it's such a insanely smoky, peaty whiskey that you could smell it as you pass it across the table. And yeah, it blew their socks off. They loved it. So I think I'll be buying a few bottles for people's birthday this year. Now that once you confirm that people like peated whiskies, it's a bit like finding someone that likes doom metal. Now you're bros, you know. But yeah, since I got that motorcycle, purchased a VTR 1000. You probably saw them posts. Just a second-hander to tide me over until I get the Aprilia back on the road, because I'm restoring the Aprilia, as some of the more dedicated viewers might be aware. But now I'm convincing all the boys in the extended family to get motorcycles again, those that haven't already got them. So we should have a big wild hogs team, except riding bikes that don't suck. It used to really suck when I went on rides and there'd be a couple of Harley boat anchors, and I had a 250 and I was really good in the corners because you really get to be a good rider if you hang on to a small capacity bike for as long as possible, particularly if you're trying to keep up with the big boys, because it makes you brake really late in the corner, it makes you corner really hard, and it makes you get on the accelerator get on the throttle as soon as you're past the apex of the turn. It really really tightens your balls up, and you get the balls of steel. But I could keep up, if not pass those guys on the bends, because they were lazy riders and they couldn't corner that hard because the stupid pegs hit. No, well, they're not pegs, they're friggin' big platforms that you put your foot on. They scrape the concrete if you try and corner it all. Because I don't know, do you guys in the USA have corners? You just like, your country's a big grid, isn't it? You don't have corners except for intersections. I know you do, I'm just joking. But yeah, you catch up to them on the bends, they'd hold me up. All the guys on the big sports bikes were like, you know, kilometers down the road. And I'd have this stupid Harley holding me back. And then you'd finally catch up to him, and you pass him around, you know, one of the small straights between the bends, and And then it comes up to a big long straight, and the bastard just rips past you again to show you who's who. And here's me on my 250 with my head down behind the visor, full pin throttle, trying to keep up with everyone. But then you come up to the corners and you catch up with them and they hold you up again. And it's a pain in the ass. And then when I finally got a big bike, well, big-ish, it's VFR 750 95 model. The Harleys turned up to the pub about 2 beers after we got there, so it was pretty funny. We'd often have to go back to see if one of them crashed or had a mechanical problem, because they are Harleys, so mechanical problems are likely. And no, they're just putting along. You turn back, you're like, man, it's been like 20 minutes. Something must be wrong. And you send one of your scouts back to see what's going on, and then he'd come putting the other way. It's like, okay, you're just slow as fuck. All right, gotcha. Ardbeg 10 is my favorite. Yeah, I'd probably say Ardbeg 10 is probably my favorite too, BCE. Ardbeg Lafrague is great, but the iodine type flavor can sometimes be a bit much for more than just one. Whereas Ardbeg 10, you can have 2, 3. I wouldn't advise such behavior. God forbid. The Harley guys are slow and annoying as hell. Don't get me started. Don't get me started. I don't know how some of them are like how they don't get defected, pulled over by the coppers, because the exhausts are ridiculous. I was reading there was a chick in, I think it was Canada, a lady that was driving down the road, and one of them was being a smart ass and revved its engine right next to her exhaust, and it burst her fucking eardrum. Her right hand eardrum was ruptured. Should be able to take that arsehole to court, sue him. That's well, bodily harm, grievous bodily harm. Yeah, it should be. They should be heavily punished for that. I like a loud exhaust, but some of them are ridiculous. Back when I could afford it, Lagavulin 16 was my favourite. Yeah, that's up there. Ardbeg Ergadale. I really like the Ardbeg Corrie-Vrecken, however you say it. Corrie-Vrecken. You know, it's the cask strength one. It's just blows your head off. All of those are great. Lagavulin has just taken the piss with the pricing recently, though. They literally like have doubled in price since I started drinking whiskey. I think I got my first bottle for like 80 something bucks, 90 bucks. And now it's like 180. Good on you, Lafrague. Lagavulin, sorry. Got my first good DC jolt the other day. I always drain current. But message retracted. What happened? Come on, bro. Don't retract your message when I'm halfway through reading it. I won't read any of your messages. Green Spot is my favourite non-peaty whiskey. I've never heard of that. Green Spot, where's that? Kind of like a Marshall Major. Yeah, 200 watt. I've been talking about them. So behind me up here, you might be able to see, probably hard to make out, but right there is the Super Bass head on display. And the 2 cabinets that I acquired. Maui asks, which Oz brand neutral cure silicon to use on large cap repairs? You can use pretty much any neutral cure if it's a true neutral cure silicon, because none of it touches metal anyway. But yeah, you don't want to use acetic cure because it does have like acidic fumes as it sets, whereas and after the fact it does off gas to some degree, so you could be rusting the surrounding conductors. But yeah, pretty much any neutral cure silicon. You can just use roof and gutter silicon because it's just between the plastic wrap of the cap and fiberglass. People stress about it, and the proper electrical grade silicon that you can slather all over the components like Mark Base and stuff do, that's worth an absolute gold mine, like a $45 for like a tiny little toothpaste tube, or smaller than a toothpaste tube. So that's very specialist. It's not just generic silicon. It's like high temperature, high voltage, blah, blah, blah. The other silicon's fine. I've tested it. You test it with the Mega, nothing, you know, you give it 5,000 volts and it doesn't break over, even over a small piece. It's fine. I went away for the weekend with a Stratton headphone amp. I feel dirty. Mate, no need to feel dirty, Robbie, because you kept playing over the weekend, and you should be proud of that. Alex, how you going? Serious Amplification. How you feeling, mate? You coming good? Been meaning to get in touch with you since I got back, but yeah, it's since we got back, it's just been trying to manage the workshop and the workload. So I think I'll be shutting off repairs again as of next week, because we got inundated as soon as we opened this week. Tuesday we opened. Anything but breast silicon. I don't think that's like the same stuff. Green Spot, an Irish whiskey. They have a green, blue, and red bottle. Green is my go-to, most affordable one. I do like. I got a bottle of Red Breast. Speaking of breast, Red Breast 12-year-old. It's a fantastic Irish whiskey that I really enjoy. It's about $120 a bottle over here. Sometimes it's on special and it's worth a grab. The other one that's affordable and peaty and Irish is Connemara. They do have their premium bottling, but the non-age statement, I think it is just generic peated stuff's pretty good for the price. Paint is getting better each day. Well, that's fantastic. Soon you'll be smashing pints with the rest of us. The Denstone Virginia Oak at 46%. Non-chill filtered natural colour is the best bang for buck. Single malt. Now just £26 in Tesco over Christmas. That is nothing. That's like $50. Man, 46% non-chill filtered natural colour. Do they have an age statement on that one? That's amazing. Send me a bottle of that, man. It'll only cost $500 on import. But you know, like all, well, let's not name one country, but like all import charges, I'd be liable for that. Did I miss any comments? No, don't think so. All right, I think we're up to date. Excellent. If you like Bread Rest, you'll like Green Spot. I'll check it out. We do have a lot of specialist whiskey stores here. I'll see if actually, well, while we're talking crap, let's have a look on Nick's Wines. Nick's Wine Merchants. I could just Google it, but Google's so useless these days. Green Spot. Let's see how much it's worth here. Oh yeah, $100. Just screen share for you. Desk share. There we go. Green Spot. It's got a score. Green Spot. Single pot is $140. Oh, don't worry about it. That's actually not a bad Johnny Walker. I do shit on Johnny Walker quite a bit, but the green label is actually one of the best. Don't worry about the blue label, blah, 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 expensive shit. It just tastes the same. But the green label and the Celebration blend are some good blended Johnny Walkers. Green Spot. Okay, so everything's sold out, but the core one. Okay, so it's got some decent scores for $100. Reduced from 114, but yeah, it's everything's so expensive over here in terms of booze because the government seems to think that by taxing something you're going to stop people from drinking too much of it. But I dare say, champions, that alcoholics aren't buying $100 plus bottles of single malt. It's a little bit like cigars. You've got massive tobacco tax, which I think we should tax it to make it not a commodity. But I think when you tax it too far, you've opened up the market to the black market, and that's what's happened here. So now you can buy a $5 pack of cigarettes, but if you buy an actual one, it's $50. $5 black market one, I mean. Yeah, with whiskey, it just goes off the alcohol content. So the more alcohol in it, the more you get taxed. And same with beers. That's why you get like the really strong beers, and they cost an absolute fortune, which sucks a bit. And like I say, I dare say that alcoholics aren't drinking like premium Belgian beers. They're drinking just the slosh, you know, the cheapest possible crap that they can get. Okay, the Deanston. I'll just look up Denstone, Virginia. I'll just type in what you've written, and it will probably correct spelling if it is incorrect. Virginia Oak. Denston, Virgin Oak. Okay. Deanston, Virgin Oak. Oh, you give me a bum steer there. Again, $100 a bottle. $100 Australian. So there you go. 46.3%. So yeah, it's probably, yeah, it's like twice as expensive here as it would be over there, which is about on average, but yeah, it's sold out. Damn. But yeah, I'll try that. I don't just drink peated whiskies. I do enjoy non-peated as well. But anyway, like Sirloin McGroin is asking, you come here to talk about amps and guitars, not whiskey, but I'll talk about what I feel like talking about, won't I? But yeah, we will start focusing on stuff again. I just came to say hey, and then I missed your bald-headed, ginger-bearded face. my tapentadol. Tapentadol. Wow, kicks in. Sounds like fun. I don't drink much anymore. It doesn't go well with my diabetes. Yeah, that'll put a spanner in the works, won't it? But that's all right. You just do what what's your name in Dogma did. Just drink it and spit it out again. What was his name? The Angel? Metatron? I can't drink these days, but I used to like a proper tawny pint. I used to like a proper tawny port, 20 years old, from Portugal. I used to make vodka too. All right, tricky to get right. Wow. Triple IPA is $14 for us, and a 6-pack from a local brewer around 11% ABC. Yeah, it's about the same as here. Usually most of the local brewers that do an IPA do it somewhere in the 7 to 9% range. Like maybe, well, it's usually around 7 to 8%. And yeah, it's probably about the same price wise. Oh, $14 for a 6-pack. No, would be like $30 for a 4-pack. All the craft breweries here do 4-packs instead of 6-packs. It's very rare that you find a 6-pack from a craft brewery. They always have the 4-way plastic things on top. But they usually do a mix and match thing where you get a discount. So that's fun. Canada pulled American booze off our shelves. Did they stick with that, Dustin? Or was that just a publicity stunt? Offset Guitar Tech. Hi, I've got a retube valve my Mesa Studio preamp. What valves, tubes would you recommend, please? Well, for starters, why do you have to? Because it's just a preamp. Generally, you don't go retubing preamps until there's a problem. You don't have to I mean, you can have a valve that gives ridiculous hours of service life, providing it's in used within the the data sheet specs of the valve. Some valves, like the Russian valves, don't like being used as a cathode follower because they have leakage from the heater to the cathode. So you may be experiencing issues with that, with hum or whatever. But generally, if your preamp's performing like you would expect it to and like you want it to, don't suspect the valves need changing at all. But having said that, if you do need to for whatever reason, or you just want to for the warm and fuzzies, I've been having trouble with pretty much everything except for Electro-Harmonix 7025s at the moment. Even some of the JJs have started coming in noisy recently. Hiss and crackle. They could settle down after being powered up for a while, but when someone comes in and there's a preamp valve that's failed and you pop a new one in and straight away it's crackling, and then you put a 7025 in there and it's A-OK. Well, what does that tell you? They seem to be the quietest and the most stable at the moment, but as always with valves, that could change next week. On my whiskey journey, 30 plus years, you grow a bit tired of peated Isla. Yeah. That's why you got to mix it up, bro. I do love a big sherry cask. But yeah, I love the unique whiskies, like some of the lesser known bottles, like, Nika. You go to Japan and they've got Nika everywhere, but it's just like blended crap and it's pretty boring. But then over here we've got some other, I don't even know if it's the same distillery or if it's just owned by the same company, but they've got the Nika coffee distilled single malt. And coffee is in the style of distiller, nothing to do with coffee beans. And I couldn't find that in Japan anywhere, but over here you can get it for like $80 a bottle, and it's so unique, so sweet. Nikka. So yeah, I can't even find it on Nix. Oh no, there it is. Just had to scroll down. So these ones here. So Nikka, it's hard to tell with the Japanese stuff because so much of it's overpriced. And so much of it's like a status symbol more than being good. So this one here, the Super Nikka. Nikka Rare Old Super Blended Japanese Whiskey. It's boring as fuck, but you can get it over there very cheap. You can buy a bottle of that for 25 bucks over there. 25 Australian, so a quarter of the price of what you get it over here. So that's the one. If you just ask for a Nikka, that's the one you're getting because it's cheap. But over here, we've got these ones. See that? Nikka Coffee Malt, Nikka Coffee Grain. 100 bucks. These two here, you can find at Dan Murphy's. I think the coffee grain is like 80 bucks or 85 bucks or something at the moment. It's very unique, and once you have it, you'll probably keep stocking that one. And they do vodkas and stuff as well. But yeah, the coffee distiller. Coffee distillation. It uses a different, it's not like a pot still, it's like a column thing. Almost like fractional distillation, I guess. I don't know much about it, but yeah, it's a different method of distillation. And that's what they use for those ones. So it's nothing to do with coffee beans, but it's just a different style of distillation. So there you go. Moving on. Any experience or thoughts on the Marshall Studio range? Are you talking the old ones or the new ones? The old ones were good, the new ones are shit. So there's your answer. Pelican Brewing, I've heard of that. I almost got shit on by a Pelican when I was up down the coast. There's no up in space, champions. I was riding my push bike along, and there's this run of straight road just when you're heading north into Bateman's Bay. And there's these big street lamps. And they're like the ones that go up and then curve over, like almost horizontal. And the pelicans love to sit up there because they can probably see down in the water and see if there's any fish from that elevated position, and they can just sit there and wait. But it's right above the footpath. I don't know who designed that. So you see all the pelican shit on the footpath. So you've got to, when you're riding, even driving, it goes over the road too. When you're riding, you've got to look up and just see if there's a pelican there and maybe cross the road over the other side if there is. Don't test your luck. So I thought, I'll run the gauntlet. So I sped up real quick, and I sort of went as close to the pole as I could because he was out of it. And he must have timed it and tried to shit on me because, don't get me wrong, birds have a sense of humor. Birds have a massive sense of humor. If you've ever seen like magpies or cockatoos or parrots playing, you know they've got a sense of humor. They fuck with each other and they egg each other on and stuff. They're just like little boisterous arseholes. And this pelican tried to shit on me, and it landed next to me, but the wind was going away from me, so I didn't get any. But it was like someone threw a bucket of water on the ground. It was massive. I almost bought a lottery ticket that day, I tell you what. Any fussy messes come through the shop lately? Yeah, I've got a Triaxis down here, which has a busted LDR, and they're not available anywhere, so I don't suggest anyone buy a Triaxis because they're almost impossible to keep going now unless you manufacture parts yourself, which I guess I'll have to do in that case, but I don't think they're going to like the price. Nope, it's still off the shelf. But nope, it's still off the shelves. Those selling it are for charity. I don't know what you're talking about. Let me look up. Oh, the Tawny Port. Right, okay. Broke my Marshall JCM 4100 over the holidays. I just had new tubes put in it too. I think the main fuse blew. Could be bad valves. Tin CAD 4. So your best bet's well, if you said you just had new tubes put in it too, go back to the tech and say you fixed it and something's gone wrong. Can you just have a look and see if it's the valves? Or if it's something new that's failed. There is a chance something else has failed that he didn't have any issue with when he first looked at it, if you did get another tech to look at it. There's also the chance that if the valves spontaneously failed, the tubes spontaneously failed, he might be able to get a return on them if you get back to him within a reasonable time frame. So I suggest you get it back to him today. I'm assuming it's a him, could not be. Get it back to them today and see what they can find. See, I'm not sure. Some other techs seem to get away with everything. Not saying this guy's done anything bad. It just could be a spontaneous valve failure. He had no way of knowing because the valves tested fine when he had it in his possession. But I get so many customers that come here and say, "Oh, I went to this other tech and you know, that was like a month ago and now it's failed again." So I thought I'd bring it to you. I'm like, well, did you at least reach out to them and say, "Look, this has happened. You know, what should we do?" Because they could go deny, and then you know, but you should still take them to small claims court because there should be at least a 30-day warranty. I do a 90-day warranty here, but the legal requirement for a repair is a 30-day warranty. As long as it's a bit of a grey area because it's hard to prove to non-technical people that a different fault has occurred that had nothing to do with the original fault, because sometimes just spontaneous stuff happens. But give them a chance to make it right if they can. If they're not able, then probably find another tech. You ever tried a spring bank from Campbelltown? I have not, but I see them everywhere. I have been meaning to try that out. 7025 is a decent harm. We'll have to try. Yeah. They seem to be the quietest. I get a lot of high gain amps through here. A lot of metalheads. So low noise is the name of the game. And they seem to be the lowest. Yes, I've got a problem with one of the valves. I thought I might as well put all new. I've got a volume pot issue too. I've cleaned it so it ain't dirty. Well, it could still be the pot that's having an issue. Either the conductive track's worn through, or your commutator that actually attaches the wiper to the center pin can sometimes be so corroded that no amount of cleaning will fix it. I have had unobtainable pots in various form factors where I've disassembled them and then used some like 2000 grit sandpaper on that commutator and then lubricated it, put it back together, and then they've come good. No amount of cleaning could have done that. But you could also have a bad valve causing a bad valve or a coupling cap, or board leakage or board contamination causing causing unwanted DC offset on the pot. And even if you put a brand new pot in there, you'll still have scratchiness. So your best route forward is to, well, either you or the tech, it depends how technically proficient you are, measure the terminals of the pot, and you should have 0 volts or damn close to it. I'm talking like a couple of millivolts max. But yeah, you should have 0.000 volts on there. And if not, your pot could be fine. It could also be damaged from it, depending on how much current's behind it, voltage and current. But yeah, you'll just damage a new pot if you put a new one in there without getting rid of whatever is causing the leakage. My bad, it's just Alberta and Saskatchewan that have it back on the shelves. So some places do have it back on the shelves, right? That's disappointing. You guys make such great whiskey. You don't need American whiskey. Just make your own. They don't want to trade with you, so don't trade with them. Fuck them. Thank you, Brad. No worries, Offset Guitar Tech. Speaking of Offset Guitar Tech, I've got a neck here I want to put to good use. It's off a Jag. I think a customer upgraded his neck and just gave me this one. Compensation of some extra work I did or something. He just gifted me this one because he didn't need it anymore. So I'm keeping an eye out for a Jag body, but I want one that doesn't have a tremolo cutout because I want to make it a hardtail with a tunematic bridge. And I want to make it a metal machine, matte black, Because I saw one on the amp panel, you know, with Shay and Jason, Dave, and God damn it, I always forget the Pommy guy. I forget his name. I can picture him, but damn it, my memory's terrible. Sorry, guys. But yeah, I just wanted to make a metal machine out of a Jag. Put some heavy ass strings on there and down tune it like fuck. That'd be cool. Put some I don't know, some possibly EMGs or Fishman pickups in there. It's just Mexican neck. What is it? 2011. And the frets are good. Barely any wear on them. They need a bit of a polish, but yeah, so nothing amazing, but it's nice and straight and it's good. The nut's okay. We don't worry about lock and trem if you've got a hardtail. Locking tuners, I mean. So I might just, I think I've got the DXFs there for a Jag body. I might just get my brother to cut one and make it out of ash or something. Nickel whiskey isn't too bad. Nickel whiskey is so variable, Alex. Some of it's boring as hell. It's still whiskey and it's better than none. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, some of the blends are a bit meh. Like that Nickel by the barrel, a little 500ml bottle. That was pretty, it was strong. It's like 50% or something, but it's not a lot going on. Nickel has a lot of variety in Japan if you look really, really hard. Yeah. I couldn't find anything. It was either massively expensive or it was just a blend. There was no sort of stuff like the sweet spot that we have here. How much is Eagle Rare or Old Pappy's going for on Oz? I don't know. Old Rare, Eagle Rare. Never heard of it. Let's have a look. Eagle, oh yeah, Eagle Rare. About $100 for the 10-year-old. 3,000 for the 17-year-old. And 12,000 for the 20-year-old. Fucking hell, it's like exponential. It's insane, and it's in stock. How many of them do you want, boys? Look at that. And you get a special wank box for it. But yeah, this looks like the stock one's about $100 Australian. So that's like what, $60 US at the moment. Old Pappies, don't know. Old Pappies. Never heard of either of them. Old Pappies. Jesus. Oh no, Pappy Van Winkle. Pappy Van Winkle. 10 grand? Oh, sorry, no whiskey's worth 10 grand. I'm sorry, but it's just you need more mates. If you find yourself lusting after that, you need more mates. You need better mates. You need a mate. Because that's just, it's like the audiophile dumb shit with the, you know, the horn speakers that take up half your friggin' living room. You only get into them if you're looking for cheap ways to impress people. And yes, that is cheap compared to actually being a interesting person. But yeah, you just buy them for wank factor. 12 grand for a single bottle of bourbon. Fuck off. Who cares? I'd mix it with Coke just to give the shits to whoever gave it to me, if someone gave me that. I'm coming to Sydney in September. Maybe I should bring you a bottle of some of the more unique New Zealand whiskey. I have had, I thought it was Pinoke. Panake, I've had that, and it was really, really good. Have a limited edition Thompson called Full Noise, which goes up to 11. Nice. Well, I'll never say no to whiskey, but I can't guarantee I'll be around or able to spend time drinking it with you, because it's pretty insane around here at the moment. Morning all, Verb and Trem. 1979 JMP 2203, need to rewire a lot of it for the usual reasons. Seems very difficult to find good hookup wire in New Zealand. Can you recommend a supplier over there? 22 gauge, right, colors as well. So I use wire imported from the US. It's pretty much nothing that I source from here. There's very little. Valves, some bulkier things like speakers, but pretty much everything I source from It's either got to come from the States, via the States, from the UK, directly from Hong Kong, via sometimes via Mouser. The Australian-based, well, for starters, I don't even know if anyone in Australia manufactures wire other than like specialist stuff for telecommunications. Generic hookup wire, I think, would be definitely manufactured overseas. So I use Remington wire, and I get it in kits. I'm not going to pull it out because I've got a trolley in front of it, but I gave someone the link to it recently. I can't remember what video that was on. Remington. Nothing to do with the guns. Remington Industries. So I found these guys because I was looking for pickup wire in bulk, like pickup winding wire, and I got sick of paying fucking $5,000 for enough to do like 3 pickups from StewMax. So I ordered like friggin' a 2-pound reel from these guys. It's around here somewhere. I think I might have packed it away in a box. But anyway, yeah, so I ordered bulk wire off those guys, magnet wire. And they've got, I think, Formvar as well when I was winding pickups, I'd like to do it again because it's fun, but you can't make money on it. Too much time required. And who wants to sit there staring at a pickup winded, making sure your reel goes on right, you know, like, oh, no, I bloody overlapped or it escaped the reel, now I've got to start again. It's not my idea of fun. I don't know about you. But yeah, they do a PTFE coated wire. So hookup wire. Just show you. Desk chair. Alright, so hookup wire. We've got 600 volts PTFE wire. Now you can just get reels of it. It shows black, but you click that and you can order a reel of whatever color you want. Up to $2,500 because you can get like a 5,000 foot reel. That should be enough for a while. There's 20 AWG, but then you choose what color you want. So if you know specifically what you want, or you want to order in bulk, that's the way to do it, cost effective wise. But if you're just doing the occasional amp, I suggest getting these. I get 22 AWG, which is nice for preamp socket eyelets. You can get little kits. Spool size, I think I went 100 foot. And I think I got the 10 color pack. So about $500, but damn, the shit's good. Silver coated stranded wire, or silver plated copper wire, and they give you all the specs there, which is great. It's rated to 600 volts, 200 degrees temperature rating. However, I can wrap that around my soldering iron that's 300 degrees, and not an issue. Doesn't sweat. It's really good stuff. It's fantastic if you need to rework stuff, because you can melt the solder connection, you can remove all the solder with wick, you can take your time, and you don't affect the insulation at all. It doesn't pull back, it doesn't melt. It's great stuff. That is what you should be using for amps in all cases. For you, for the next tech, if you're building amps, definitely. It's great if you're going to be modifying amps too, because you'll be unsoldering stuff and moving stuff around and tweaking things. Definitely worth the cost. Any recommendations for make model of tube tester? Yeah, I'll just go for the Maxi Matcher from my mate Peter Toms. Just get a Maxi Matcher, I think 2 is the current one. He also has a preamp one. Don't get the orange piece of shit. It's useless. It's worse than useless, and now it's expensive too. It's not worth it. Replace the impedance switch on my Ampeg VL1002. Learnt the process in that. 1, you don't need the force of Hercules to turn them. 2, they're overpriced. 3, for a vital switch, they're bullshit. Pete, was that the one I looked at? I can't remember. Were you the one that I did the VL1002 for? I've done another one since. But yeah, if that's the Schurter mini impedance switch, they're absolute piles of shit. If there's room, drill it out and put one of the Schurter, but the 2 screw ones, the Marshall style ones in there, because they're bulletproof. Unfortunately, the company that used to make those Japanese ones is, well, they're obsolete. I don't know if the company went bankrupt or what. Oh, Philippe, you are the one. I was trying to look through emails. I didn't forget your request, mate, about the DSL board to Brazil. I tried to look through emails. I searched Brazil, DSL, TSL 100, DSL 100, DSL 50, JCM 2000, Brazil, and I couldn't find our friggin' email. It was very frustrating. I wanted to send it before Christmas. So just flick me another email, please. I'll put it at the top of my inbox, and I'll get that shipped to you first thing next week. I don't think we'll have a problem. I don't know what... You tell me what importing stuff at Brazil's like. I don't know what the border there is like with customs or whatever. Do you have to bribe people? I don't know. But I can definitely get one to you. Not a problem. Brad, did you see that impossible part send cut send manufactured? Impossible part. Definitely a marketing gimmick, but I think you'd appreciate the genius it took to CNC the part. There's a lot of those parts, and they often, when they install a new 5-axis CNC or whatever, they'll have a demo program to show the client who just spent $500,000 on a machine what it's capable of, and they'll also double duty it once they've calibrated the machine as a test to make sure everything's okay. So then what often happens is you'll go to a factory where there's one of these CNCs, and they'll have a little trinket sitting on the reception desk or on the hob where all the visitors come and talk to the receptionist, and it'll have that little thing there to play with while you go and get the person that the guest is looking for or whatever. So yeah, there's lots of little impossible parts that aren't impossible, little toys and trinkets. Fuck them, we deserve that. Yes, you do. But much love goes out to you guys and all the shit you're going through. Trust me, I sympathize. It's fucking terrible. Hey Brad, have you had any hook amps on the bench? No. One came in today. It has powered pots. So when you hit a preset, it adjusts everything to what's stored. Yeah, a lot of them do that. I think the old Yamaha, one of their rack preamps used to do that. Had motorized pots. That's just a recipe for disaster. So what a lot of manufacturers do these days is they'll have either a digital rotary encoder, so no end stops, you just keep spinning it forever, or they'll have a actual 10k pot. The value's irrelevant. It's just a voltage divider that feeds a DC voltage, analog voltage to the microcontroller, which then interprets that as a potentiometer position, then tells the brain box what to do given that. And they'll often have LED indicators, aka LR, sorry, wrong one. The line 6 amps with the little LEDs around it show you what position you are. Many modeling amps, particularly the cheapy ones that can't afford to have a LCD, will do that instead of the motorized pots, because they're expensive and failure prone. They are pretty cool though, I'll give them that. Canadian whiskey really isn't that good. They all have this metallic chemical vanilla note that I can't stand. Really? All of them? Dan Gower. Jesus. Yeah, sorry. Thank you for that, Daniel. I'll keep my eyes out for a Jag body for you, Brad. I will probably just machine one, I think, because I want to make it to my specs. And I was thinking about going without a pick guard. What do you reckon? I kind of like the idea of a matte black pick guard, but I kind of like the idea of just matte black without a pick guard. And I wanted to relic it a bit. Matte black, but with like, I don't know, like a yellow or a fluorescent green finish under it or something that's like, when it chips, it exposes that. Just like trashy, but cool. Kind of cyberpunky. I'm refurbing a Pale Tech. You mean Pull Tech? You guys are fucking really bad with your spelling today, I gotta say. You're really making me fight for it. I'm refurbing a Pull Tech VT3 valve test. No, it could be Pal Tech because it's a valve tester, not a preamp. Minty fresh, other than for paper wax caps. 50-year-old leaking dry cell batteries in the multimeter section. Yeah, well, that sounds alright. If they haven't leaked and corroded everything, it'd be good. Anywhere near a tourist city, you will not find much of the good Nicker. Yeah, true. We did venture out quite a bit, but what I found is when you went to more of a rural area, you do get the real baseline whiskies, not the fancy stuff. But again, sometimes sorry, my eyes are dry as. sometimes the fancy stuff is just overpriced over there. I'm not a huge fan of Japanese whiskey, and definitely not the pricing given what it tastes like. It's good and it's fine, but a lot of the time it doesn't have much character, and it's just got a premium price. Like Jim Beam, I thought bought Nick. Yes, someone bought them. I can't remember who. Winding stuff. Yeah, but winding transformers isn't as bad as winding pickups, Alex. You're dealing with massively heavier gauge wire. You'd sneeze and your fucking wire breaks, particularly when you're winding like a Ricky pickup or something that's got the real fine wire. Or a telly pickup, neck pickup. Chris, hey Brad, still Friday here in the UK, but happy Saturday all the same. Would you recommend routinely changing the bias cap in late 70s Fenders during a recap? Absolutely. Or check for how it's working first. What is there to be lost by replacing a $2 cap? You're talking like a 25 microfarad 63 volt cap. You can get them from Tube Amp Doctor, you can get them from V-Shay. They're a couple of bucks. Why not change it, particularly given its position in the circuit and how critical it is? Don't worry about originality. Leave that for the forum dickheads and the Instagram wankers. We want functioning amps here. We want to produce music without any problems. We don't want to sit around and jerk off into an amplifier as to how original it is. We want to play the fucking thing, what it's designed for around here. That's just what my channel's about. There's other channels that will fawn over original caps and all that crap, but I don't entertain that way of thinking. I reckon it's ridiculous. It's like driving around a fucking A-model Ford with the original tyres on it. It's stupid. What about bulk guitar cable wire? Does it have to be fancy Canare or the like? Where do you get whatever you use? I get it from Amber Technology, so I get Canare in L2T2S, I think is the microphone cable. They also have a Star Quad version, but it's a bit stiff for my liking. I won't ask your mum about that. I use the Canare GS6. There's also Mogami, which is great. And I think Belden make a decent one, and Van Dam used to make a bulk reels, but I don't think they do anymore. I think they just sell finished cables now, which but most of their stuff's spiral. I stay away from the spiral core stuff because I find that the spiral separates over time, makes the cord, distorts the shape of the cord, makes it hard to roll up, and also compromises the shielding. I just stocked up on a bunch of Remington AWG 22 and 24. I like it, yeah. And no real need to go thicker than 20 gauge for heater wire. Don't put like fucking 16 gauge in there or some shit. You know, unless you're making a friggin' 400 watt bass amp, you don't have to worry about that. I could use some wire. I'll just salvage stuff for scraps. Like the transformer offcuts are great when you wire in a transformer. That wire is pretty similar to the Carroll wire I find, which is the PVC wire that I use. Sometimes I use PVC if the PTFE looks just out of place in a vintage amp, and they had, you know, like the 70s Fenders, the big fat PVC coated wires. Sometimes I'll use that, as you've seen in the restorations that I've done. That is Carroll branded wire, 600 volts, 22 AWG. 20 AWG actually. So sometimes I'll use that, and in all my own builds or more modern amps I'll use PTFE for everything. I try to steer away from cloth covered wire wherever I can, mainly because the insulation's not approved or rated, or it is in very rare cases where essentially it's fake, where it's got PVC on the inside and then, or I forget what the name of the wire was, but then it's just got a dress cover on the outside made out of cloth, and it's real thick for the wire gauge, and it's really hard to wrestle around. You can't twist it. It's too hard to handle. So in very vintage amps, I'll use it for historical purposes, but I'll try to get the Celanese stuff, which has like a silicon impregnated fiber on the inside, and then just a normal dress fiber with the color coat on the outside. You've probably seen the stuff in the original Fenders. Not original, but you know, in this late 50s, early 60s Fenders. Are you ever worried about the thickness of the jacket on the 22 AWG? No, well, that's the thing with Teflon. You can have thin jackets and it can still be 600 volt rated. It's an amazing dielectric. Wonder how long a 25,000 foot reel would last. Yeah. Well, if you build fenders like Fender used to in the 70s, probably not that long. Valvestorm in USA has J&P wiring kits all color-coded. Not cheap, but a decent amount of wire. Cool. Yeah, well, what you're paying for is the people that have done the value-added work to make those pre-packaged sets. So, excellent wire info. Thanks heaps. Yeah, a lot of people overlook wire. I reckon it's really important. And it's literally what holds your amp together, and people just use any old crap. It's, well, as you saw in that fucking roller joke, people just use any old crap they got lying around, like old telephone wire and shit. It's one of the most important things. Kaboom 22. Did you used to be Kabuki or something? I think your name's changed. Question for you. In an amp head with a built-in reverb tank, is it normal for the tank to be pretty noisy, clanging when moving it around? To a degree, but what you may have there is the wrong tank format, so the wrong mounting position. One of the codes, if you look up the codes of let's look it up, reverb tank codes, I think Tube Amp Doctor has a good article on that. Okay, no, Evatco. Good old Evatco. Legends. So, desk share. Would you like to know what those numbers on a reverb tank mean? Of course, Evatco. I thought you'd never ask. Okay, so the first number is the length. Hang on. What? 4 or 9? 8. Yeah. So the first number is the type. Okay, so that's the type. And type 9 is the naked one, I think. Type 9s. Oh. Type 9 have 6 springs counterwound, coupled and arranged in a parallel that are ultimately designed for use in amps that require a large, luxurious sound like pedal steel guitars. Okay. Alright, so first digit's reverb type, second digit's input impedance, third digit's output impedance, fourth digit is decay, fifth digit's connectors, so what their grounding configuration is. Sixth digit is locking device. I don't think I've ever seen one with a locking device, or maybe way back in the day. And seventh digit, the one we're looking at in this question, is the mounting plane. So if you can look through all of this, but seventh digit, here's all the different configurations. So A, horizontal open side up. That's what you'd find on like one of the amps where it's mounted to the outside of the chassis and the chassis is upside down like a Fender. Pretty rare. B, horizontal open side down. By far the most common. That's what's in all Fenders. So that's open side facing down, horizontal. Vertical connectors up. So this is what you find in, I can't remember if it's connectors up or connectors down, but they're mounted on the JCM 2000 series heads to the valence, to the front panel of the head. And then which direction the connectors go, I can't remember, but it's one of those two. On end, input up, on end, input, output up. So that's where it's mounted to the end of the cabinet. And I'd imagine in most cases it would be output up because you'd want the input end furthest away from the chassis and therefore the power transformer. So you'd have better noise. So you may have the wrong configuration. Check that code's 7th digit. And off this chart, you'll know if you've got the right one or not. Reverb tanks are cheap. Just get the right one to suit your needs. And I'll put the link right there. Next PC board you can make and sell is your tube tester that your dad designed. It is a massive project. It would be huge and there'd be so much liability on that. Let me just play with my mic gain. Now I'm talking. It's probably a bit hot. Just go to minus 12. Hey, yeah. I'll stick at minus 9 for a bit. All right, we're back. Sorry, just get my settings dialed in again. Where are we? So yeah, that valve tester, it's actually pretty easy to break it at the moment if you got shorted valves or if you don't use the thing right. So to make it not breakable, we'd have to do a lot of work and a lot of developmental stuff. And then we're currently using off-the-shelf panel meters for it. So then do you go down the route of having it all feed into a microcontroller? Do you make it USB controlled? Do you need a computer to control it? Does everything be in the box but a bit harder to use in that case? Do you make it dual purpose? Who develops your software? Do you make a software package for it? Do you standardize it? Do you accompany it with a website? Do you make it a kit? Do you make it pre-built? You know, massive questions there. It would be a huge project to think about. So we're probably not gonna. Hey, where's the dirty 4x12 cabinet I saw in the thumbnail? You clickbaited me into the stream. It's right beside me. It's right here. And I kind of don't want to clean it yet because I want to make a video on it showing the condition the amp came in and act all surprised. Oh, look, we just opened it up. But yeah, it's super reverb that came in, which I'll show you. The lighting's all messed up, but yeah, it's right there. Lots of problems, lots and lots of problems. So a lot of these Silverface amps got zero maintenance their whole life, and now they're in such poor state that it's a massive project to tidy them up. Even the baffle on this is flexing by like 10 mil. So really the baffle probably needs to be replaced, but it's one of the ones where the chipboard baffle's rabbited into the sides and the base. So even that's a massive project. We'd have to make a ply one and then route that one out and then install cleats and make them fit around the speakers. And yeah, and then do we replace the speakers? I'm going to do a video on it, but yeah, that's a huge project, that one. Your Jag body idea sounds good, Brad. It'd be good to be different. I bet that will look real nice. Yeah, like I say, I did steal the idea off Jason, the boys. If someone has some recommendations on good Canadian whiskey, I'll give it a shot, but I've tried lots. They all have that thing. Yeah, right. Forum dickheads. Yeah, we stay off the forums around here. We don't have time for that shit. We're actually doing work instead of fucking worrying about every tiny little finagly detail and not doing anything as a result because you're too busy worrying about shit on a forum. Winding transformers is a lot more volts. Indeed. Time to head out now to do some shopping. Thanks, Brad. Have a great weekend, friends. Take it easy, Robbie. When installing flyback diodes on ultralinear output transformers, do you recommend putting the diodes on the ultralinear windings as well as the other windings? No, just put them on the plate. That'll drag it down. Don't worry about it. Sage advice, say no to the cap cork sniffers. Yeah. Waste of time, mate. So dumb. Thai whiskey is where it's at. Last bottle cost me 125 baht from the local 7-Eleven in Koh Samui. That was 11 years ago, so price surely has changed due to inflation. Yeah, I've been looking up Thai whiskey, Welsh whiskey, Indian whiskey. Pretty keen to see what other countries are doing. I was actually pretty surprised by some of the spirits in Thailand. It was a little bit you hear bad stories and stuff about it, but I think Thailand's pretty damn westernized these days. You could shut your eyes, appear in Thailand, and for a second until you see a sign, you kind of like just going up the architecture and the civil engineering, you kind of wouldn't really know if you're in Japan or China or even some areas of Sydney even. It's all pretty like Paul Kelly said, every fucking city's just the same. Magisterium, I've been trying to use KiCad. Now I know where your missing hair went. Bloody annoying. You'll have the components, but not the footprints and vice versa. Yeah, look, I'll find you a link right now. Chris, thanks, Brad. £4.99. Thank you, mate. No question there. Just sweet. Just chucking me a coffee. Thanks, mate. Or that's actually more like a schooner. Contextual electronics. KiCad courses. So Chris Gamble from the Amp Hour runs a site called Contextual Electronics, but he does the Amp Hour with our man Dave Jones from the EEV blog. But he also does a really good courses, projects, skills. Don't like his website though. Let's have a look. It used to be a lot simpler than this. Simulation, test equipment, soldering, board assembly, revision control. Okay, where'd the KiCad one go? Alright, he's got his projects. Start here. Okay. Prerequisites, none. Okay, so this is an actual course. So he used to offer free stuff. Oh, maybe it's on his blog. Okay, here we go. KiCad. Add mounting holes to a layout, but not the bomb. Alright, so he's got a lot on here. It's probably towards the end of, I'm guessing that's the oldest ones. Getting to Blinky. I guess it's difficult to do this kind of stuff because it's April 2017. KiCad's changed so much since then, but you do get the idea behind it. Maybe it's just on his YouTube channel, actually. Let me just show you my beautiful face while I look it up. And I'll see if I can find it. YouTube contextual electronics. Now, you can get the old versions of KiCad, so if you needed to, you could probably download the same version he's working on. But I'd say most of the principles still exist. Importing Eagle files. Okay, getting to Blinky. Getting to Blinky is the project you want to start, right? You don't have to make it, but just virtually make it. Here's the link to his playlist. And look up Getting to Blinky and design what he's designed and follow all his steps. And the library and the footprints and the symbols and the management and whether it's project or global and all that will fucking do your head in until it clicks, and then it'll be second nature, and then you'll be fine. Especially when you set up the shit that you use all the time. We're not making fucking satellites. We're making valve amps. So once you've got all your footprints sorted, you're probably going to be right for a very long time. And just learning how to do it properly. Don't just put pads on there and create your own footprint on the circuit board. Actually make a proper footprint, because you'll save so much time later. When I was in the joinery industry, I'd convinced myself, yeah, I'll make a library item for that cabinet, like say a corner pantry or something like that, and make it parametric. So you just have to punch in the dimensions, the amount of shelves, blah, blah, blah. But what I found is I'd keep putting it off because I was so under the pump, and making a library item and testing it, making sure it works is actually a little bit time consuming. But you got to fucking put the work in and do it, because then you'll save so much time. It'll take you 20 minutes to make the library item, but then every time you use it from now on, it'll take you 2 minutes to put it in, 1 minute. Instead of taking 20 minutes every time you need to recreate that cabinet from scratch. And I put it off on so many things, and I really wish I didn't. I wish I dug in and made the library item. And you can think of that like footprints. Instead of recreating pads and making the footprint every time, just make a library item and just plop it in every time you need it from that point forward. And once you get your head around the library, it's actually not too bad. It's a weird sort of non-intuitive way that they do it. I use 18 gauge. You use 18 gauge on everything, really, Alex. That's a bit heavy in my opinion. Thought it would be a bit of a struggle. Hey Brad, can you recommend to me some bands to listen to? I heard you mentioned 1000 Mods the other day, so you obviously have good taste. I like mostly noisy guitar music that isn't metal per se. Oh man, that's I've been listening to the OCs a lot. That's noisy. The OCs, Le Butcherettes is another great one. I do like female singers, particularly when they've got a real attitude on them. I love women that will kick you in the face. It's great. That's why I'm with Michelle. Yeah, Le Butcherettes is fantastic. Obviously, Amel and the Sniffers if you just want some raucous, don't tell me what to fucking do music, which is great. There's another one I'm forgetting. Eka Vandal is really good. Another chick not to be fucked with. Well, I have been listening to a lot of Americana-y type stuff, like Gillian Welch and David Rawlings as well. A lot of Wilco recently, but that's not noisy enough for you. So if you're talking stoner and that kind of thing, it's hard to know because there's so much different stuff in there. I've been listening to a fair bit of post-rock stuff, like some local bands like Sulkiri, Mogwai. I don't know, you caught me off guard with that one. I'd have to have a think. I feel a bit like when you used to go to the record store, and when you're at work and you're thinking, when I get to the record store, I'm going to buy this and this and this and this, but then you get to the record store and you're standing there and your brain freezes up and you're like, what am I looking for? And you just flick mindlessly and you can't find anything and you end up walking out with like nothing, if not like one that you just happen to find. But yeah, when when you put me on the spot for bands, I can never remember the names and stuff, but maybe I'll start putting up recommended probably new releases, because you know, we've got to support the bands that are still working rather than buying the same old shit from already rich bands over and over again. So when a new band has a new album or new EP or single or whatever, I might post that. But you know what I was very impressed by was Flea from the Chili Peppers and Tom York's new collaboration on a song off his new debut solo album, Flea's solo album. You can tell Flea really loves music. He's still just in love with it as he was in day one, and the way he performs on that album really shows that. Can't remember what it's called, but you guys can find it. Just got released like yesterday or the day before. It's basically a jazz album. Hi, brother. Thinking about making a matchless Spitfire. I assume you're not talking about the motorcycle. A Vox AC15 normal channel. You know what? That'd be a fantastic idea, because I was playing the hand-wired Vox AC15 I've got here the other day. Even in its stock form, all I've done is replace the valves because they were the shitty Chinese ones that squeal and make all sorts of weird noises once you put 20 hours on them. Put JJ's in there. I think I changed the bias point, but I haven't done any serious mods to it because I was thinking about doing a big video on juicing her up a bit. Not necessarily going full JMI mods, but just tailoring it to my taste and making it a bit more bulletproof. But yeah, AC15 normal channel. Where would you source a chassis? Well, I would just make one from scratch, but I'm a bit like that, so I'm not sure who would do one off the shelf. Vox chassis are a bit of a thing. They're kind of shit. Vox chassis are sort of like a big shortcoming to the design. But there's companies that do Vox style stuff, but in a traditional style chassis, or not traditional, I should say, because there's nothing like Vox used to do it. I'm talking like a single box, not the two L-shaped ones bolted together or anything like that. So yeah, chassis wise, I'd just draw one up and get my mate over at Hickey's Sheet Metal to fold and weld one up. He's got a CNC folder and welder, CNC folder, beer powered welder. They just tack up the corners for me. Getting the control panels that look authentic is tricky. I know there's some companies out there that do it and they look really legit, but yeah, I don't know where you do it in small runs. Popped open a Manly Shrimp hi-fi preamp. Ow! Just cut my leg open. Tackle a relay buzzing for a second after the 20-second mute timer warm-up. Okay, so relay buzzes for a second after the 20-second mute timer warm-up. So when the relay goes to switch on, it buzzes. Been Googling learning RC timer with MOSFETs and caps. Epic analog. Yeah, you could have a bad cap if the relays buzz. Two things could be happening. You could not be producing enough. Well, you could not be supplying enough current to the coil that it can't hold, and that it's just oscillating by itself, a bit like a vibrator in the old car radios. Or you could have noise, massive ripple on the relay supply line, and you could have a bad cap or a bad connection to a cap, and it's vibrating at 100 hertz or 50 hertz or whatever, whatever the rectification would define. So 60 or 120 if you're in the States. So probably the best thing to do is check the supply line on the relay circuit. You'll have some transistors that turn the coils on and off, so you can just check on the collector of them what ripple you've got. Just set your meter to AC, and if you've got like more than a couple of millivolts or tens of millivolts, you could have a problem there with the caps or the connections to them. Hi Brad. Oh, you already said that. I already said that, sorry. Give Ralphie at the Whiskey Bothy a look. Yeah, well that's actually literally, Martin, what got me into whiskey, because I watched Big Clive during lockdown, and then his brother crashed the stream, and his first video that I found was one he just released, which was the Ardbeg 10, and that was the first bottle I got. So Ralphie actually got me into whiskey. He's an absolute lunatic conspiracy theorist weirdo other than that, but his takes on whiskey are pretty solid. Manly sent them a schematic. Manly sent you the schematic. That was good of him. That was good of him. I was like, no fucking way. The 322 meg resistors in series. Yeah, but what was that doing though? Or was that the mic preamp? I have to wonder if Teflon coated wire will still be easily available to guys like us in a few years, because of it requiring toxic PFAS chemicals for the manufacturer and the lawsuits against DuPont. I don't know. Don't know enough about that. There are other plastics with pretty close specs, like that not Teflon, that coax that I use. It's not PTFE, but it's incredibly high temperature. What is it? Might have to look up the specs on that. There it is. So yeah, I don't think it's Teflon. UFEP. So what's UFEP? UFEP plastic. Fluorinated ethylene fluorinated ethylene propylene. Wide temperature range from cryogenic to 200C. Okay, so this stuff here, which I showed in one of my videos, performs like Teflon, but it's not Teflon. You can wrap it around the soldering iron and it just laughs at it. So that's probably the next step forward. UFEP. Maybe that's why they're going that. That's the stuff there. That's the code as well. This is a really good coax. I spent a while trying to find an affordable Teflon coax, and this is the one I landed on. And perfect in every way. I love it. It's great. Even the insulation isn't just for crimping, so it's okay with the temperature. A lot of these wires are just meant for crimping, so they don't expect you to ever solder it. So as soon as you put a soldering onto it, all the insulation melts and goes wonky. But this stuff was fantastic. You get it from RS Components in the ook. Made in China, like everything is. But yeah, it's really good stuff, and you can get it on reasonably small rolls. That's enough for the hobbyist. Even for me, unless I was manufacturing amps, I'll get a bigger one. But for repair and the occasional build, that's heaps. We've got a lot of questions today. I don't know if I'm going to get to any work. Like a Lyle stream, except somewhat less informed. If you were building a Fender style amp, would you run the heaters in the air? Are you worried about running heaters close to the jacks if they're against the chassis? So if you mean a Fender style amp, do you mean a tweed or a like a silver or blackface style chassis? In both cases, I run it against the chassis because I hate working on amplifiers that have it in the air, because it's a pain in the ass to get around to work on stuff. And in a tweed, the case of a tweed one, I run it against the front lip, so closest to the lid, not the transformer side of the chassis. In the most recent one, I did run it on that side because I don't know why. Built it some time ago, but in the amps I've built since, I run it right against that lip on the front of the opening of the chassis. Because when you're reworking stuff, that wire in the way, see all the solder burns and shit from previous techs? It's real hard to get in there, and even the jacks that's in the way, those jacks aren't really susceptible to noise. And you can see the one over here with the reverb that's pushed away from, because that's where the reverb return is. And the reverb return's a bit sensitive, but you see in all the old amps, there's all solder burns everywhere because that wire's in the way. Now, if it was tucked away down in the corner of the chassis and tightly twisted, the amp, A, would look much neater, and B, it would be much easier to rework and less, well, nothing to worry about there from a noise perspective. I've made some amps like that were very, very quiet. Do you ever use ferrite beads in your builds? No, I don't bother, because the if you do your grounds properly and have a grid stopper, your Miller capacitance takes care of everything. I've never had an issue with it. A lot of the ferrite beads they put on like computer equipment or modern amplifiers that have switch mode supplies and stuff, a lot of that's designed to keep the noise in the amp so it doesn't put it back into the mains to have FCC compliance. Was there a design change in later 70s Princeton reverbs that made them sound bloated and sloppy? I had a 78 with problems. Even after servicing my buddy's 71 didn't seem to sound that way. Hard to say without knowing what the circuit is. So many 70s amps have been modded by someone well-meaning techs that had no idea what they were doing. Bloated and sloppy, I would say you could definitely address that. It's just a Princeton reverb. But as to why, it could be the speaker. It could be the circuit. Someone could have used oversized caps in the coupling caps. Could be a problem with the phase inverter circuit. There's definitely ways to improve even on the stock one. Maybe your mate's one's been modified to sound sweeter, and you're comparing a stock one with that. In my opinion, the stock ones, if you do push them in overdrive, do get pretty messy and uncontrolled pretty quickly. And there's ways I get around that, very similar to what I did to that Tweed amp that my mate Sam just bought. Pretty similar from the phase inverter onwards. Yeah, hard to tell, man, definitively. It sounds like there's either something wrong with your amp or you're comparing a perfectly good amp with the mate's one that's been tuned up. Check out bands Hawes and Slift. Some Aussie bands. Cog, yeah, Cog just released a new album, but I had to listen to it, and it's nothing like the old Cog. It's a bit meh. Apparently that's the last album they're going to do, I reckon. Pigs, I think, is another really good messy band. Coffin is another great band to check out. Check out Coffin if you like that raucous, in-your-face stuff with disgusting-looking frontmen. I reckon it's great. Obviously, you've got, well, you said you don't like metal. So, yeah, that stuff's not metal. I was going to say King Parrot if you like disgusting-looking bands. But, yeah, Pigs. I think they say it 7 times in the name. We just call them Pigs. And Coffin, kind of in the same genre. Viagra Boys, if you like really messy, dirty shit. They're fantastic. I like Viagra Boys. They're Swedish. I've seen Hammond spring reverb tanks with locking mechanism. Got one here somewhere I pulled from an old organ or organ tone cabinet speaker system. Yeah, they've got like a lever and it just has like a bit of foam that pushes up into the springs. I've seen them around. I think I've seen one of them. But yeah, I can't remember what on it. Some old weird amp. Cheers, Pete. Oh, chat just jumped. Thank you, chat. No Hawes. The guitar player used to be a regular on Harmony Central in the early 2000s. Really? One of my amps had no reverb or tremolo, so I bought a second-hand Strymon Flint. Absolutely love it. Any opinions on them? I haven't used one personally. I hear that Lyle had one for a while and he wasn't happy with the noise floor, the hiss. And I do get that. Sometimes noisy pedals, it's almost ironic that they're more suited to professionals, because when you're sitting at home and you're listening to every little thing in your amp and there's a little bit of hiss, it's going to do your head in. But if you're playing a gig or rehearsing, you couldn't give a flying fuck. The background noise of the air conditioner is probably louder than hiss, so masking takes place and then it doesn't matter. But yeah, he said they're kind of unacceptably noisy, but without having tried one myself, I couldn't say. But also, if you're driving it into an amp, if you're using it in front of an amp and you're pushing that amp in drive, it's going to be pretty much anything's going to inject a bit of noise. But I think it goes back to the design of the switch mode power supplies and the voltage converters in them, because they often don't give too much concern to mitigating noise. And what you're hearing is it's an artifact by the switching of the high frequency voltage converters. You're not hearing the actual switching frequency because it's way above our hearing, but you're hearing artifacts of that interacting with the digital converters and causing hiss, random noises. The OCs. That song featured on Breaking Bad. That scene with poison tequila. Don't you like Wilco Gooden? Oh well. Good thing I like them, and it doesn't matter what you think, eh? I like Wilco and stuff like that too. A lot of indie rock is good too. Loving the new Superchunk album. Not heard of them, but with a name like that, how could I ignore them? Hoodoo Guru's still around. Yeah, they're still around. They're touring. They're playing the I think they're playing the Red Hot Summer Tour. And they're still, I think they were always pretty clean cut guys, which is probably why I never really liked them. I like the self-destructive lunatics. But yeah, they're still happy and healthy and Harold. And they're still around. They're a great band. They're too happy-go-lucky for me. I like bands with a darker edge. We spoke about it on Facebook Messenger. Probably why you couldn't find it. Oh, okay. Yeah, that might be it. Because the search mechanism in Facebook Messenger is fucking atrocious. If it's older than like a week, it just doesn't show up. Yeah, flick me an email. info@bradsguitargarage.com.au. If you like female rock badass bands, check out the Soap Girls. Yeah, I've seen them. Oh, trust me, I've seen them. And, Brody Dahl from the Distillers and stuff. It was great. Yeah, he plays trumpet, Pastor. He's a great trumpet player. Not massive, not super, like, showy or anything, but he's good. He's played trumpet his whole career. I think he started trumpet before bass, if I remember correctly. My current favourite Aussie band, Psychedelic Porn Crumpets. I have heard of them, partially just because of the name, I think. But yeah, I've heard of them. Another great band, if you like sort of crazy ethereal sort of imagery and whatever, is the Golden Age of Ballooning. The Golden Age of Ballooning. Check them out. I don't know if they're still active, but they got a song, a fucking epic song. Golden Age of Ballooning. Oh, that's a Monty Python thing. Bands. Golden Age of Ballooning. What was their big song? Something Mountain. Something Mountain. Mountain? No. Shoot, no. What's the big song they did? Oh, it's not big song, but the one that was big for me. Tell you what, I'll look up their YouTube page, and then I'll just look up the most popular video, because it's probably Savage Mountain. That's it. Video 6 views. What? Why are they pulling like 100 views and shit? They're fucking amazing. Oh man, that shits me. These bands that I think, like, there's a video of them jamming with Chad Smith, and it's got 1,400 views from 6 years ago. I can release a video of me scratching my balls, and it gets more than that in 2 hours. That sucks. Anyway, go and Psych Rock Ninjas. Yeah, that's about right. Go and follow their band, because damn, it shits me when there's something that's amazing and no one gives a fuck. It's so disillusioning. It's just, yeah. 2,000 views. Like, they're such an amazing band and no one gives a shit. Man, that's frustrating. Popular. Love and War. Okay, well, I got 7K on that. I haven't watched that one yet. Savage Mountain is the one I was looking for, so I'll give you a link to that. Where's it gone? It's disappeared. Savage Mountain. Let me just double check that's the one. Probably get a copyright strike, but I'll give you a no, I won't actually. You can find it yourself. They've got 200 subscribers, dude. That sucks. Maybe their page got taken down. I don't know. Golden Age. I'll tell you what, I'll go on Bandcamp. Bandcamp, our new heroes, anti-AI. They just banned all AI music. I don't know how they're going to police that, but Savage Mount. Oh God, I can't type. So glad I'm not sharing the screen right now. Savage Mountain. Go and buy their album, champions. You get the digital copy. It doesn't matter if you're international. Check that band out. It's amazing. Got 0.5 volt AC on the high-low. Bingo. Okay, so on the high-low, what do you mean of the pot? Like on the wafer? Volt AC. You want to be checking DC. Were you the one talking about the scratchy pot? I can't remember who said what. Lark and Poe. Yeah, they're the two chicks with the lap steel that she walks around with, eh? Shiner has a new album. First in 24. 90s, noisy 90s alternative stuff. Fucking oath I've heard of the Lamborghini Girls. They're awesome. I just looked them up the other day when I heard a song. I'm like, who the fuck is that? I'll be working away and then I'll hear a song. I'm like, I've got to go over to the computer and see what it is. And then I play just that for a couple of hours. Excuse me. There have been a lot of lawsuits about firefighting foam made with PFAS. Yeah, it's everywhere, man. It's bad shit. Forever chemicals, we call them over here. Can you post a link to that coax cable you use here? No, I can't, because you had the number there and you can look it up yourself. Sorry. Can't do everything for you, champions. Greetings from Washington, D.C. Your thoughts, your two shorts on the best loop boost style amp. Best top boost style amp, sorry. I'm reading two comments at once. Best top boost style amp. I don't know, what, a Vox. Just a, yeah. I guess you're referring to the Vox style. I don't have many Vox clones through here. We get tons of Fender clones and Marshall clones, but Vox clones is a bit harder to dial in, so I think a lot of people don't go for the Vox clones in terms of an easy build. But yeah, just a Vox. If you like twisted folk music with attitude, try Uncle Bonsai from the 1980s. Great harmonies, lots of snark. Lyrics are like peanut butter for the brain, spread thick. Okay. Cheers, mate. You're a legend. Thank you, Sam Friedman. I'll take that comment. I use 18 gauge green cloth covered solid core. Forms well and twists beautifully. I run tweed heaters against the outer lip. Yeah, so do I. A brown black panel one's tucked away. Yep, that's the same way I do it, but I don't use cloth covered wire because it's just, I don't like it. I don't use solid core either. Who's this guy? Bring back Michelle and Dad working on the radio. That radio's done. I got the speaker for it. I'm going to put a new cord on it. The one thing I'm waiting for was, what do I need to get? Oh, a new volume pot, a 1 meg switchable long shaft pot, which Evatco has in stock. So I'll order one of them on the next order. I'm just holding off until I've assessed the latest run of amps, so I know if I need anything else from Evatco, because I've already got like $1,000 in the shopping cart there. I'm just waiting to pull the trigger on it. Question, I have an old Samick Valley Arts telly. Nice, they're really good. With a humbucker in the neck position, it sounds great, but I have a new old stock Goto knockoff with a Damasio. Should I install the Goto? Okay, hang on. I have a new old stock Goto knockoff of a Damasio. Right, sorry. Yeah, the Goto pickups are okay. If they're the El Nico ones, they're pretty good. I haven't tried their ceramic ones, but that's what comes in the FGN Boundary series. They're Goto pickups, and they're really good. Give it a try. Just be careful with your soldering, and you can just, if you don't like it, you change it out. Just, it's all about playing, mate. It's all about having fun. Preamp heaters need not be AWG. Yeah, you can use 24 gauge if you want. It's the first couple to the power, the output valves. I won't say power valves. Let's be specific on this channel as much as we can, champions. If I mean power valve, that could be confused with rectifier valve. So I either say preamp, even preamp's a misnomer because there's only two preamps in each Fender style amp. Everything else is just a valve. And then your output valves and then your rectifier valve need to be specific. That's why everyone says input jack when they talk about their guitar. Every guitarist says, "Oh, I need a new input jack," but it's an output jack. They're like, yeah, but you plug your cord in. Okay, yeah, but you do that with every jack. I don't know. I'll stop caring about that, but it's just weird. I've seen some reverb tanks with foam inside. Would you keep it or remove it? We shouldn't need it. There's foam that comes in them from for transport, but providing you've got the right. So yeah, when you order a tank, it comes like this from the supplier or whatever. That's just to stop them from bouncing around in transit. I have had a guy bring in an amp once that he built, and he said there's no reverb, or the reverb's very weak. We opened it up and he didn't realize you got to remove the foam. So that's all right. It's, you know, now you know. But you can see this one here. That spring carrier is pretty much touching the bottom. So any movement there, and she's going to bash into the bottom of the what would you call it, the chassis, I guess. So this is designed to be used face down. Now the only thing that defines them, you can convert one to the other literally just by changing what holes the screws go in, the springs go in. So it's not like it's a different tank that they've manufactured, but what holes they mount the springs in determines that last figure as to which way it's supposed to be mounted. So you can convert this one from a face down to a face up just by moving that spring from there to there. Honey boy. There we go. From there to there. And you can convert it into a mounted this way up by putting it from there to here. Or from there to there. So, and doing that with all the others as well, because they all sort of correspond. So you can easily convert what style of mounting you want. So that's all stuff you can do. There's also the grounding. Say your grounding is the wrong type. Say you've got a tank for a Messer, even though the impedances are the same as a Fender one. So the Messer wants both sides to be grounded. And you can see here the mounting rivet. And then you've got the ground there, which is sort of swaged onto that, the outer side of the RCA jack. So that side's grounded. And you look over here, the input end, see they're both open. So that's non-grounded. So if you wanted to use this for a Messer instead of a Fender, even though the impedance is the same, so is the mounting position, you just need to solder one or both of them, and now it's a Messer tank. So stuff like that can get you a long way, makes you not have to stock 500,000 things if you know how to reconfigure stuff from the factory. Of course, the next person's going to look at the code and go, this dickhead put the wrong tank in it. What a fucking hack. What a dumbass. He doesn't know what he's doing. Then it'll be all over the forums telling everyone that I don't know what I'm doing. Which is why I release videos, to educate people on stuff like that. The Goto is new old stock from the 70s, really? Oh, I've got no idea then if it's any good. But yeah, all you can do is try it. It's just wedged in there. Yeah, just get rid of it then. It sounds like it's a shipping foam that no one took out, so just remove it. Here we go. If you happen to feel thirsty in Portugal, I'll get there one day. Try the Aguardente de Madrono or Bagasso. Is that how you say it? Makes a Saab bomber look lame. Look tame. Sorry. I've got to enlarge my font size again. I changed it back because Shell's had laser surgery. She's all good. Laser eye surgery. Brad, may I promote my band music? Yes, you definitely can, mate. Sun Tzu Bean, chuck up a link, brother. That's what we're all about here. We're all about anyone performing, anyone making music, making art. feel free to spam my page. I'm very open to that. That's fine. That's the primary objective here, to make art, make music. The amp and repair stuff's just a step in the road to making music. The primary objective of this channel is to facilitate you legends making art. Everything else comes second. The only foam normally found permanently as part of a reverb tank is a thin layer of foam glued on the underside of the floating sub-chassis. Any other block of foam was either to protect, and then his comment ended. Former neighbour, when I lived in a very posh 3-story apartment, he's a world-renowned jazz trumpetist, and his at least then wife, an equally great pianist. Nice. And before that, there lived an opera mezzo-soprano with a regular gig in London. Jesus. A few years ago, our civil, I don't know what that word is, protection minister was fired because he bought an absolute, he bought for an absolute shitload of cash fire protection collars for our firemen. Flammable fire protection collars. Okay. Sorry, that was a tough sentence, but yeah. Misunderstood instructions, accidentally bought Savage Garden. Damn! That is a big misunderstanding. Feel free to get in touch with my lawyers and take me to court over that one. During shipping, yeah. So Gooden's just saying it's probably shipping foam as well. Polymer solid versus standard liquid electrolytic caps. So the polymers are very specialized, available in very few values compared to the standard electrolytics. So just standard electrolytics. We're not making satellites, bro. It's fine. Hello, Brad. Check out Shorthead Hippies, not metal. Okay. On girl bands, Bel Air lip balms have some pretty cool stuff. I really miss the Detroit Cobras, man. I heard that, was it the drummer passed away? Or the singer? No, the singer passed away. The Detroit Cobras was so good. Her voice had such an attitude to it, man. She was a great singer. I might be wrong there. Let me look this up, because I don't want to spread misinformation. Detroit Cobras. Cobras. It's a hot dog, a hot dog. Watch me eat a hot dog. Members. Oh, okay, so they've got a new singer. And it's a dude. What? Rachel Nagy. Okay, yeah, so it was Rachel Nagy who passed away, and that's very sad because she was an incredible singer and she seemed like a bloody legend. Bought a roll of that RS coax. Yeah, man, it's good stuff. Got to leave and do my wife's meds. We'll rejoin the chat later. Go for it. Got to clean the workspace now. I just drilled out a full-size negative feedback switch hole through a 5F2 steel chassis right between the speaker out and the V1 socket. That was pretty tight. Yeah, not a lot of room to move in those tweeds. It can get pretty claustrophobic pretty quickly. I use 22 AWG top coat for heaters. I think Remington does top coat wire. I'm not sure if they do PTFE coated top coat wire. Yeah, top coat's okay. I prefer just tinning it, because top coat, you're sort of back to solid core territory where things can fracture pretty quickly if you slightly nick a wire when you trim it, which is pretty easy to do. On stranded wire, you might lose one strand. On solid core wire, you've just created a potential fault with vibration, particularly in a combo. They crack. And also, how many guys here have worked on a vintage Vox? Just a quick question. Like a proper 60s Vox. Every single fucking connection to the tube sockets in particular has to be reflowed, because the solid core wire has fractured that solder joint and cracked its own solder joint to the eyelets on the valve sockets. Every single one almost. And you wouldn't get that with stranded. But, you know, it's lasted since the 60s, you know. But still, just shows that it is a mechanical issue. Just proves my point. Pastel bent on it. We're musicians, mate. To us, anything can be an input jack, if you know what I mean. Well, you know, it's hard to be choosy after you've packed up all the gear and the bar's about to shut, isn't it? The only time a bent jack is not an issue. Huh? Scotty, how you going, mate? What's going on? Currently sat at an infusion center having a pint of blood drained. Are you donating blood, Ryan? I haven't done it yet. I really should. I think I've just got common as mud blood, though, so it's like, they're just like, we're taking it or leave it. Had to get into the technical stuff about amps because I couldn't afford the one I wanted, so I built it. Then I had to build another. Now I want to build another. That's how it starts, Super Sean. That's how it starts, mate. And what you'll find is once you get the process dialed in, you manufacture, even as an intermediate builder, you'll manufacture an amp that's fucking 10 times better than anything you can buy on the market in terms of reliability and probably audio quality as well. What about the fine art of really fucking up there? And I have some experience there. It was fun though. Don't we all? I can't donate blood anymore, not for decades, because of the heart meds and the blood thinner I'm on. Yeah, well, you wouldn't be able to, would you? You'd bloody bleed out. Michelle couldn't for years because she lived in the UK and there was during the foot and mouth epidemic, and she's just past that, the period, and it's like 10, 15 years or something. Whatever the time is, she's past it now. She's donating blood again, so I should go do it too. I have hemochromatoma. Too much iron. You're just too metal, Ryan. You Iron Man. So they're taking it to get rid of iron. Wow. You just got to start listening to some smooth jazz instead of metal. I like a good sized switch knob in these crowded spaces. Well, I'm like a UL Fender, too much iron. Every vintage Vox I had on the bench was worked on before and had the eyelets broken off with the sockets on the board and cracked joints everywhere. Yeah, man. A lot of that solid core wire, eh? Where's he going, brother? Guess what, Brad? He's leaving me hanging. I cannot donate blood. I do not meet the weight requirements. Does that mean you're too thin? You can't donate blood because of that? Hi, Brad. Any experience with the 80s Marshall JCM 800 lead series 4210, 4211? Yep, they're not great. They're okay. They're difficult to modify. I'd steer away from them. They don't hold on to their value either. And that little chip they use for the channel switching is a little bit failure prone and hard to source a genuine version of these days. The way they've mated the channels together wasn't great, and doesn't quite hit the same tones as the non-switchable ones. And then you've got old Ampag and Magnetone amps, which use a capacitor-driven reverb circuit. The impedance of the tank are very different. Fender types tank won't work. The worst good one is when they have the crystal reverb tanks, so the really high impedance ones, because they often just tapped into an existing part of the circuit, a feed from one of the plates, and if you're trying to recreate that with an electromagnetic tank, because the crystal ones are super failure prone, the crystal elements just fail. So you try and replace it with a modern replaceable tank, and now you realize that the impedances are way too high even for their high impedance tanks, and you have to pretty much build in a driver circuit and a recovery circuit just to make the thing work. I learned that the hard way on the Tesco Checkmate 18, I think it was. I managed to shoehorn one in there, but I had to install another dual triode to make it work. In that case, probably a 6BM8 driver and recovery stage would have been good, like a Pento driver, direct drive off the plate. You could go cathode follower as well, low impedance. But yeah, it was very hard to get a reasonable reverb level on that without oscillation or just noise. What amps do you own for personal use? Well, at home, I've got a deluxe reverb that I built. The turret build. And I use just an overdrive pedal in front of that. And that takes me from Marshalltown to Fendertown pretty quickly. I've got an Ampere 01, which I use modeling for practice through headphones. Hotone Ampere 01. I've got my Dirty Shirley. Sorry, Cranky Karen. Which is probably the amp I'm going to hang on to long term. I'm going to install an effects loop in that. I tend towards Marshall tones more than Fender tones, typically. But I do love a big splashy Fender reverb as well, because I did grow up on surf rock, so I do love that. And I do love playing clean, because I think it makes you a better player. It's pretty easy to hide behind a wall of gain and sound impressive to the average pleb. The doctors mistake me for the needle. 52 kilos, Jesus. Gotta run. See you, Ryan. Speaking of switching, the garbage the Blackstar is, they used SMD transistors for switching channels and that failed. It took some finding, but it took some finding to find one that'll work. Hot air job, not impressed. So yeah, but I thought they use FETs for switching. Yeah, so it's SMD transistors. So do you have a schematic for that one, Mac? I'm 16.7. What is that? 167 centimeters. I assume you don't mean millimeters. It was once down to 52 kilograms. It was down to 52 kilograms once just before I was diagnosed with celiac. Jesus. Yeah, I've got a mate who's got that. It's no joke. Yeah, one of my mates, he was down to it like, yeah, he was like a rake. And as soon as he, well, I think he was already diagnosed, but as soon as he started taking care of himself, started going to the gym, eating properly, he became like fucking, you could sit a glass of beer on his ass cheek now when he's standing up. He's got the ass from hell. He's a glute man. Yeah, old Quinny. Was gone for a while there, still nothing on the bench, eh? Yeah, I'm getting there, but people keep chatting, Dustin. It's like a catch-up stream, right? Unfortunately not FETs, my bad. I mean, there's still transistors, don't get me wrong, but yeah, I think they use J175s for switching. An oscilloscope is your friend, and also the quick way to isolate where your problem is plug in the effects return with your guitar and see if you get output. If you do get output, problems in your preamp. Plug another amp if you got one into the effects send, and if you get signal there, the problem's in the power amp. If you don't get signal there, the problem's in the preamp somewhere. So yeah, if you plug in the effects return, you get no signal. The problem's somewhere in either the effects return circuitry, the phase inverter, or the output stage, or the power supply. Check your voltages before anything. That should be what you should be doing. Check all your power supply voltages, what you would expect, and then start signal tracing. Often with valve amps, we're sort of at an advantage because everything's capacitively coupled because you've got high voltage on the plates. So it's pretty easily, it's pretty easy to track the fault down to one stage. In directly coupled solid state stuff, you can have a fault and everything's just dead, which makes it very hard. My band is called Sugar Snap Peas. Oh, sorry. Okay, let me look that up because I just realized you wouldn't be able to post that link. One sec. Sugar Snap Peas. The world stood still. Did it? All right, you got a Bandcamp? Why don't you have a Bandcamp? You should have a Bandcamp. Debut EP by The World Stood Still by musical group The Sugar Snap Peas. AI overview. All right, I'll put up the YouTube link. There we go. go check out Sun's band. I'll check it out after the stream. If you're not making mistakes on occasion, you're probably not working very hard. Yeah, true. It's hard to explain that to people who just drive a forklift every day. Could sip more than a glass of beer on a fucking great derriere of this Venezuelan chick I saw once. She was something, to say the least. Yeah, it's funny. Someone was commenting the other day that in the 90s, everyone wanted a tiny ass, and these days everyone wants a fucking dump truck. Well, champions, we've caught up with the chat, so I'm probably going to largely ignore you from now on and start actually looking at some stuff. Oh, we've got a comment about AI. Talking of AI, I've read the Bandcamp and banned all AI content on the platform, which is fantastic news. Yeah, that's you were gone for a moment, Dustin, but yeah, I commented on that. I've always advocated for Bandcamp, partially because you can directly donate money to the artist, and you can also declare your own price for their album if you decide the price is worth more than what they're asking to you. Or if you just want to support them, you can pay $5,000 for an album if you want. I reckon that's fantastic. It's very easy to do. They take a very small cut. It's also a great way to check out their music before purchasing it without giving money to a major corporation, and they put a lot of power in the hands of the artist, which I think is great in this day and age. It's pretty much the only way I buy music online. Discogs is a rip-off generally, and you can also have deals on Bandcamp where they produce a record or a CD, even a cassette, and you also get the digital download to put on your phone along with it, but you also get the real, tangible piece of music that you now own to do with what you want. And I think that's very important in this day and age of permanent subscription to everything, to life. Bandcamp rules, I made several thousand through them. That's great, Lucky Jim. Have you got a band on there? Feel free to put up, well, tell us what it is. I'll put up the link. Oh, here we go, Magisterium. We're talking about picking up chicks. Once I picked up a girl in a pub just by saying a lovely derriere was between me and my beer. Okay. What I was finding is channel 1 was working, channel 2 wasn't. Scope both tube outputs, all good. Signal disappeared right after the switching circuit. There you go, J176. So that's sounds like a reasonably efficient fault finding there, and pretty good. Look, I'm not opposed to SMD. Partially because you didn't have to remove anything to fix that amp, did you? You just had to trace it out. You had the schematic in front of you, I hope, because it is available for most Black Stars. And all you had to do is hot air gun. I wouldn't have even used a hot air gun. I would have just used this stuff, chip quick, chip removal solder. If you slather on even some normal solder, you can generally get away with being quick and removing it without damaging anything. But bit of that, bit of this, clean it off afterwards, put on some new solder, and away you are. That's one of the quickest repairs you could hope for, I think, on anything. You didn't have to remove anything, didn't have to remove the pots, the jacks, didn't have to remove any hardware. Just so, in a way, SMD can be better to repair. And anyone that just hates all methods of manufacture other than fucking point to point is just a dickhead, and we don't entertain their uninformed opinions. Hey Brad, DreamWorks emailed me to come back to the studio for another show. Nice. Good on you, Wes. Congratulations, mate. Flick me an email with the details. No, you're probably on an NDA on that one, aren't you? I pretty much buy all new music through Bandcamp. They're great. Yeah, it just supports the artist, man. And I buy so much stuff like that on there. It's so good. I've never encountered a fork truck driver that did not make mistakes. But yeah, but they're usually life mistakes. Sean Weatherford. Like life decisions. The original crystal mic elements were crystallized aluminium compound called Rochelle salt. I've heard of that. They go bad from moisture and vibration. The crystals can be grown huge for decorative purposes. Yeah. How do you fucking know all this? Are you just Googling it while we're chatting? I'm glad to hear you back on your feet, Wes. That's awesome. That's great news. Got to use my new Arduino-based bias probe this week on a for parts recent 5150. Pretty shittily constructed amp, to be honest, but it was super cheap and only had the speaker cables knocked loose. Nice. Yeah. Look, I know a lot of people, a lot of other techs don't like the 5150s, Lyle included. I'm not that against them. Everything's a sliding scale these days. Everything is getting so mind-blowingly shit that the amps that we used to think is shit are actually like nowhere near as bad compared to the new stuff coming out. Like if you've opened up a 5150 Iconic and compared it to the original 5150, it makes the original one look like a fucking brick shithouse. So yeah, the connectors are shit. Yeah, the heater wiring was shit, but all of that's pretty easily resolved. People put the money into them because they just want that sound and they don't want any bullshit. I do one of them a month at least, and they're fucking solid once you do all that stuff. They're actually reliable. What shits me is amps that are a house of cards. Even after you've done all the work, anything else could fail. And amps like the Iconic, that's definitely the case. They're fucking pus. I use Bandcamp and also Blue Canoe for jazz and fusion. Nice. I'd rather work on Blackstar than JCM 2000s, that's for sure. Well, again, JCM 2000s, once you remove the weak spot by installing one of my boards, if you can buy one if you're not in the USA, they're fucking solid amps. They're really good. Even ones I've installed the Marshall replacement, the ESU20 board on, up until I started making those boards, none of them have come back. They've all been fine. I'm not going back to being a salary man again. I'm too old and grumpy. I don't understand people very well. I think a lot of technical people don't, Pastor. I think it's a superpower, to be honest, because once you see life for what it is, it's very hard to engage in small talk and petty workplace politics, because you realize how irrelevant it is and how only small brain people do that shit. And just thinking about the things that felt like World War III when I used to work at joinery places, and everyone was tonguing the arsehole of the boss, and if you didn't do that, then you were on the outer and you didn't get invited to shit, and everyone talked behind your back, and everyone set you up to fail. They'd intentionally sabotage one of your projects and then make it look like you did it, and then point, oh, look, he fucked this up, and you'd be like, yeah, but I wouldn't have fucked it up if you didn't do this and that and that and that, or you didn't pretend that I didn't do this, even though I've got written proof and everything's in email, so fuck you. These people saw it as a war. I saw it as petty dumb shit. I couldn't wait to get home and just fucking work on amps or guitars or play music or meet with mates at the pub. And it was fucking terrible. And every time I have a bad day here, and it does happen quite often, and I think, fuck, it'd be nice to just go to a job and turn up and just get paid. I force myself to remember that shit, and I go, yeah, no, fuck that. So you gotta keep your eye on the long game, man. Yep. Bandcamp all the way, legends. The 5150 Iconic is funny to me. They have the grate that you can see the tubes through, and there are two measly 12AX7s. Yeah, it's like Blackstar. It's a pedal amp. Basically, they've built a pedal into an amp, which is fine if you do it well, but they cut every fucking corner on the planet on that thing. Have you guys ever met a metal guitarist or a heavy punk guitarist or a hardcore guitarist? There's like a cloud of fluids that follows them around the world in their day-to-day life, and if anything touches them, it becomes wet with corrosive stuff. Essentially, their guitars are gross, their car's gross, everything they touch is gross. And then you got this amp that's built like a fucking DVD player, no conformal coats on anything, and everything's so close together. The tiniest contamination and the thing will just fail. These guys pour beer on their own head, and they fucking, so you get any moisture in that thing and it's fucked, like instantly. So you can't build amps like that when Neanderthals are using them, but they will anyway. Nice to catch you on a Friday night. Just got off stage. You legend. Where are you playing, David? I don't know why they call it iconic. It's not iconic. Have you seen Rift's video on the Matt amp? The amp is quite weird. No, I haven't. I haven't dealt with Matt amps yet. I know that the Stoner and, you know, Doom community love them because they look like old oranges and stuff. But yeah, I'll check that out. I like Chris's videos. I've been really trying to reach out a bit to Chris and get him in the sort of little tech groups and stuff for him. But he's just a busy boy, and I don't think we'd be much help to him because he's across everything. But you know, I just like to let him know that we're here if he needs anything, and he's a legend. I think a lot of the other techs, they're just too busy to get it. Well, here's me doing a live stream when I should be working. But anyway, it's for you, champions. Magisterium guitars. The most recurring thought in any tech's mind is, oh, for feck's sake, if you know so much about it, go away and do it yourself. I haven't really encountered many of those people recently since I got off the amp forums. Some of the diagnosis groups where people just want their amp fixed, but they'll tell you it's not this, it's not this, it's not this, it's not this, but what is it? You're like, well, how do you know it's not them? They're like, I just know it's not them. Trust me, it's not them. It's like, well, yeah, but I'm not trusting you. Run me through your testing process to determine it's not that. And they're like, I just know it's not them. And then it turns out once you pry the fuck out of them and they start getting aggressive with your prying, that they just heard that it's not that on a forum because some forum guy said it, and it totally is that problem. And it's like, well, fucking hell, you just wasted so much time, man. I just used to send them the Rob Robinette troubleshooting guide and the Rod Elliott troubleshooting guide. If they do all of that and they don't find the problem, then if they genuinely do all of that and they don't find the problem, then it actually is a head scratcher. But it's always one of those issues, pretty much. It's pretty, you know, it's pretty rare we get some crazy weird problem other than just really shitty design. I was a specialist in the pharma industry, very good on the science, but I was shit at the office politics bullcrap. That's me in a nutshell. I learned to do stuff very well easily, but that's it. Yeah, there's no time for that shit. So the 5150 is just a valve state. No, it's way worse than a valve state. Valve states are still out there kicking. In 20 years, there won't be any 5150 Iconics out there, I'll tell you that much. Holy shit, you make the boards over stack of JCM 2000 that needs boards. That made my day. Can't really find them in the UK. Well, Mark, I'll give you a link. Yeah, man, I make them. They're on my website. Hang on. I can ship to the UK, not a problem. Shipping to the US at the moment is not practical and too costly. And too much of a pain in the ass from an admin point of view and too risky. I've got mates that are shipping stuff to the States still with the additional costs and all of that. The tariffs, which the customer pays, but the US government's trying to hide the fact the customer pays because they want to pull the wool over their stupid voters' eyes, and the stupid voters are more than willing to have their wool pulled over their eyes to pretend like it's the company that pays it. So they are the only country in the world where the exporter pays the tariff because they're trying to hide the fact from the US public that they're the ones that ends up paying the tariff. What does the supplier, the manufacturer do? They just lift the price by that and they add a margin. So you end up paying 25% more if you've got a 10% tariff. And even still, packages are going missing because corruption is now rife in the USA. Everyone's opportunistic at the moment, so they're holding packages hostage, not releasing them until you pay some arbitrary fee that's not legal. What are you going to do about it? They destroy your package if you don't pay it. Things are going missing. People are stealing shit. None of this was happening 12 months ago. Ridiculous. Where am I? Brad's Guitar Garage. FYM. I'll tell you what, actually, because I make other boards too, I'll just give you the amplifier parts and accessories page. There you go. There you go, Mac. Check that out. Shipping to the UK is about 45 Australian dollars at the moment, so about 20 something, 20 £2 or something, £20, £25 maybe. And that's including insurance. TK, how you going, legend? What's happening? They have a bunch of segmented models. The Iconic is a hybrid preamp with the first stage and a PI solid state. Then the highest spec model is a real thing. Ah, okay. I've only had the 50 watter in, I think. I think I had a 5 watter too, the one with the single valve. I haven't had the 15 watter in yet. Hang on, 15 watt cathode bias single-ended? I don't fucking think so. That is not putting out 15 watts. I'm sorry, but it's just not. It'd be putting out like maybe like 8 watts max. I only met one metal guitarist that is careful with all of his gear. All the others just care about the guitars or nothing at all, yeah. I mean, that's why they make such good art, Magisterium, because all they care about is fucking brutal metal. And I'm more than happy to keep them producing art. A theatre just south of Newcastle with a glam rock show. Okay, that was your gig. Yeah, wicked. Is it just covers or is it originals, David? My autistic side, I do not understand Normie's obsession with hierarchies. Yeah, and therefore I've made a few enemies in my time, both uni and the farmer biz. Yeah, I don't get it either. I've worked for some very, very rich people, and only because they treated me as an equal. I've tried to work with some very rich people, and they treated me like a servant, and I told them to go fuck themselves. I don't give a fuck who you are. But I've worked for, like, property developers, multimillionaires, architects, actors, actresses, musicians, some very high up people, which you'd instantly recognize doing the joinery, and then after that doing various other things. And yeah, you need a working relationship. You need to communicate as equals. Simple as that. You're all legends. Yes, Wes, they are all legends. I'm not going to get to any work today. It's not 9:15. Well, it's good to catch up though. I might do a midweek stream where we do some actual work. Where are we? Where you're talking to Wes? That issue he had was so weird. The paraphase. Hang on, wait. Are they using paraphase phase inverters in Mad Amps? That's ridiculous. Really? Love of people who want to help, but really want to argue with people trying to help them. Yeah, it's true, man. That's why I got off all the forums. And then you'll have 1,500 people saying, "Oh, it's the output transformer." You'd be like, I don't think so. And they're like, what do you know? I'm a technician. And then they go into it. They give you a fucking CV of their whole career in like 5 paragraphs. It's like, I don't give a fuck what your experience is, man. Look at the case. Look at the evidence. Come to a conclusion. Oh, but I'm a radio technician for fucking 57 years and I'm fucking, what have you done? Oh, how many amps do you build? Oh, fucking, I don't give a fuck. I'm looking at the facts and determining from what the information they've provided what the issue is. But if people just, oh man, and that just makes you look like a fucking joke to everyone. It's like that drunk mate that won't admit that he's drunk and he's embarrassing himself in front of everyone and he thinks he's fine. But yeah, it's like, that's what the self-aggrandizing tech looks like on a forum. Everyone's laughing at him, but they think they're putting you in your place. Merlin had a sentence or two making fun of forum guys in his new book. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. Have you worked on any Friedman amps? Yeah, Dave sent a few directly to me for various issues with the capacitors, and I think one of them with the pots. But yeah, he always covers everything. He's a good bloke, and he'll go out of his way to make anything right, even if it's the suppliers who screwed him over. At the end of the day, it's got his name on the amp, so he'll bend over backwards to make sure, no matter where it is on the planet, that they get sorted out. Yes, that's true, Magisterium. Failing upwards, eh? Usually the incompetents move to where they can do least damage management. Exactly. Yep. Yep. All right. Chat just jumped on me again. Offset Guitars is back, and we still haven't put anything on the friggin' bench, mate. I shall be ordering someone. Cash flow allows. Amazing news. I shall spread the word. Thanks, mate. Like I say, I can't ship to the States at the moment, but if that changes, I'll put up posts and let you all know. What amp brand to survive a civil war? Probably a PV Bandit. Probably. Should say 15 watt because it's all marketing. Yeah. Had a DSL 50 recently with the issue 20 main board. Was putting out 12 watts from the factory. It had 680k resistors instead of links after the PI. Wow. So it was just a installation. See, this is another reason why I started making the boards, because even when they were available, they were so shitty quality and there were so many fuck ups from the factory. They really made them grudgingly, and I think they really didn't want to make them, so they put very little effort into QC or any of that. Yeah, just straight up component errors. Jesus, had 680Ks. So yeah, that what they probably did there, TK, was they probably adapted. Let me get my because I know those 680K resistors. Hang on. They probably didn't have any DSL 50 boards available, so they probably adapted one into a DSL board, because I think the TSL had the 680K. Yeah, 680K R4 and R5. So the 680K R4 and R5 are on the 3-channel, and R4 and R5 don't exist. They're unpopulated on the DSL. So see that? The DSL there's no R4 and R5. So what they would have done is got a TSL 100 board, 3-channel, and they would have changed it to a 2-channel and forgotten to remove those 2 resistors. Bang! There you go. A lazy J can be set as a time delayed weapon. Just plug it in and walk away. Yeah, insurance job. Except when they send the assessor around to their house, they'll find a non-compliant mains device that's set fire to your house, and you won't have home insurance, because it's so like insurers to not pay anything if they can avoid it. So that boss left me pretty much to my own metal, and I delivered it. He also had okay, right. So that boss left me pretty much to my own metal, and I delivered. He also had time to teach me some relevant internal medicine and surgery. Wow, he was a chief resident GI surgeon. I've got a family member in Australia. He's a world famous bass player. You will know him, Brad. He's a nice chap. Do you want to drop a name there? I might know him. I'm not sure. Got a few bass players that play with play at the Opera House, and some really good jazz players as well. Some that play with the Sydney Symphony Orchestra too. Floating paraphase, really odd circuit. I don't know why you'd use a paraphase on anything. To paraphrase a paraphase, PI. Oh, that was difficult. Forums are shithouse. Yes, they are, Kev the Windsurfer. They're just... Forums are just the drunk dickhead down at the pub. If you ever want to hear what it's like to be on a forum, go to a pub at happy hour. Go to an industrial area where all the tradies have been drinking since 3:30 PM and they knock off. Go at happy hour somewhere between 5 or 6 when they're all pissed, and ask them which car you should buy. And that's what being on a forum's like. Forums were cool before Twitter made retardisms popular. And the other thing is the forums are now flooded with AI bullshit too, and just like spam. So everything's useless. Facebook's useless. Everything's useless. Blue Sky was alright, but it's pretty boring. Not a lot happens on there. I don't get any engagement because everyone's on there to just complain about politics rather than do anything. There's a few really good Blue Sky accounts, mainly to do with photography and art, but But yeah, I tried it for a bit and I got like 1 like if I was lucky. I was like, what the fuck am I here for? I can't speak for every autistic person, but I know from my own experience that if someone treats me like a human, I'll go above and beyond for them. Yeah, it's same as here. Like, you'll bend over backwards for someone if they're not an arsehole. That's Facebook gurus. Also, my guitar has no output. What can it be? Your answer is your guitar is not such brand. Yeah, you should have bought a better one. Blah, 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 blah. It's all just snarky, holier than thou crap. Facts? We don't have time for facts. Yeah. My dad used to say you catch more flies with honey than vinegar. Yeah, but who wants to catch flies? Just have a screen door and keep them out. It's called block and ban. Claim denied, indeed. Good bosses ask and they get what they want. Bad bosses order and might get good enough. Well, I mean, bosses need to lead by example. One place I worked, it was like they were, it's almost like these guys were like fucking venture capitalists for their own company. Like they'd drain the thing dry. They'd claim they didn't have enough money for, you know, new fucking saw blades. Then they'd complain that there's chip outs on the melamine that you're trying to cut. And then they'd rock up with a new fucking boat, jet ski and fucking car. It's like, buy some saw blades, you fucking dumb fuck. But yeah, I just realized, well, if you don't care about the company, I couldn't give a flying fuck about your company. So see you later. Figure it out yourself. And there was also the fact that half of the programs I used, I programmed in JavaScript, or no, Visual Basic script, because I realized that BSE Works was a very amateurish written program, but it was written basically with Visual Basic, which is why it sucked so much and was so slow. But once I figured that out, that it responded to VB script, I was able to write loops and procedures in VB that took 3 lines instead of 500. So good luck figuring those programs out when you had to change them, you dickheads. They wouldn't have had a clue because it didn't follow anything in the manual on how to write the CNC programs, which were generated by the CAD software anyway in G-code. So when they encountered my VB script, it would have been very interesting to see them scratch their head and then try and program that in 500 lines that the computer took about half an hour to process before it would work. Funny shit. That's a great forum analogy. Yeah, it is, man. It's totally inaccurate, unsolicited advice, and that's forums. See a ton of posts on Amp Tech forums where people are posting answers from ChatGPT. Oh, man, yeah, I haven't even, because I've been off them for so long, I haven't seen it get taken over by the AI brain rot. Yeah, that'd be funny. Why even do that? Like, is your time so worthless that you're going to just Google shit for people and chat GPT it for them and then put up an answer and what you feel like you got some kind of valor for doing that? Well, no one cares, mate. Just go for a walk. Enjoy the sun. There was a very nice musicians forum here in Sweden some 20 odd years ago. A forum for musicians with lots and lots of trolls. But I repeat myself, yeah. All right, so caught up with the chat again now. Like I said before, let's actually look at some stuff. So we've got about half an hour, a little bit more. Here's the Rivera modified Vibrolux. Done 90% of the work, 95% of the work. It still looks pretty messy, but there's not a lot we can do about that, just by virtue of the architecture of the amp. It is stable and it is sounding good. I'm tracking down some leakage at the moment, which is on the board. So the issue with this amp is that it was sat unused for like 25 plus years. Frankie, how you going, mate? What's happening? So the board probably has some moisture in it. Now, it is also confirmed from my mates in the States that this is a genuine Rivera modified Fender. But other people have done other stuff to it since. So all that weird shit you saw in the video with the attenuator, the load resistor and the foot switch on the back panel and all that weird shit and the additional caps and stuff, that probably wasn't him. But it looks like he cleaned the wax off the board because this is the late 70s. So it would have had wax. I've got an early 70s Super over there that was in intermediate period between the 60s and when they started, or the early 70s before they started putting the wax on the boards, but post CBS. And it's interesting to see the lead dress actually, because it looks like some of the original people at Fender that were doing the, not like the Lupes and that, but the people that were doing the blackface Fenders were still employed there, because the lead dress looked a lot more like the vintage Fenders. I'll just show you now, just quickly. So this is that horrible cabinet that I showed you from the Super Reverb. Let's put the cap can over there. So I'll just give you a quick preview on this. I'm going to do a video series on it. Super Reverb. Someone's shoehorned a Ferguson transformer on there instead of using the proper one, and it's massive. So the whole amp chassis was pushed back because this gap here wasn't big enough for the baffle and its grill cloth. They've made it too big. Oh, well, the transformer's too big, and it's positioned. You can't go back any further because it'll hit the valves. And the whole chassis was sat back in the cabinet as a result, which means there's been damage to the mains cord, damage to all the reverb connectors and everything across the back because the chassis was set back. So look, I'm going to quote the Worksburger on this one. It's going to be a big one, like $2,500 plus. Because the baffle itself, even chipboard, is coming apart. The grill cloth, have a go at it. Well, the grill itself, god damn, look at it, it's like a nacho. Nacho grill. So yeah, we'd have to make a new one of them out of plywood, which is fine. I can get a 12mm marine ply one machine by my brother. I could probably even route that myself, or use the track saw and just cut it and square out the corners, which is fine. Easy to just get it done on the CNC though. I can send a DXF to my bro. He can plop it on the machine, have it done in 5 minutes. So that's probably the best route forward for that one. Recap, obviously, 1970, 7th week. They're starting to splooge out their they're starting a little cauliflower farm as well. Yeah, there's some leakage as well as almost looks like arcing on that one, but yeah, that's starting to burst. Gross. Now I'll just flip this over. It's got the what are they? GE. We'll test these, but I reckon yeah, they might be right. We'll test them. A couple of GEs there, General Electric 6L6GCs. Yeah, they don't build them like they used to, eh? And thank fuck for that. You can see in this one, see the lead dress? It's reminiscent of a blackface, but it's in PVC. It's a lot neater and tidier than the General Silverface late 70s ones. Now this is dated 1971 on the chassis, and the caps are dated 70. I haven't checked the transformer dates yet, well, the transformer and choke dates yet, but all the caps are dated 70, 71. So yeah, 71 makes sense. Looks like there's been some moisture damage inside the thing. Down there you can see possibly just humidity, but the board, this is pre-waxing. Joe, how you going, mate? What's happening? So that's pre-waxing. There's no evidence of wax on there at all. And you can see on the Super, on the Vibrolux, the Rivera one I showed you before. Sorry, juggling amps a bit here. The board does still have like this dark sort of gleam to it, like the wax has been removed, but it's still impregnated with wax. Whereas this one's never touched wax, and you can see there's this mildew, this fungus on it. So it's been exposed to quite a bit of humidity, and yeah, it's probably going to have some pretty hectic leakage issues. And we've also got the green shmoo coming out of the wire there, out of the insulation, so that's not good. Probably a lot of that wiring has to be replaced as a result, because that's a PVC plasticizer breaking down and attacking the copper. Fortunately, that green goo is not conductive, so it doesn't lead to more leakage. However, it is a jelly that will absorb anything that touches it, so it'll probably become conductive over time from just contamination for the atmosphere. Just wrap up this horrible cable. But like I say, I'm not going to get too deep into this one until I do a video, but I'm going to do a quote first, because if he doesn't go ahead, oh, that's all she wrote. basically. Might do an assessment, but that's it. So yeah, someone's been in here, probably a few people have been in here. A lot of this stuff, it's like they were using up, because you got the brown sort of chiclet ones, which were around on the silver faces, and you got the blue Pactrons, which were around as well in various eras, and they're really good. Both these types are really good, and almost never have issues with them. There's another one. But then you got some of these, they look orange on there, but they're actually like a red. It's Panny Boy color balance thing. So yeah, I think someone's changed some coupling caps, and you can see that one there, the top. Oh, no, you can't. Hang on. Let me just wrap the cable. You can see the one there. They've changed that one to slow down the trem. So I reckon these red ones have been put in after the fact, but it's a bit of a transition amp. Those ones and the blue ones are probably original. Interesting. Fender didn't waste anything. They'd send every single part out in an amplifier, whether or not it was authentic. So the transformer, the hole has been modified. Says your mum. Once I'm done with that. The mounting holes. Okay, let's back up. So that transformer is a Ferguson. It's heater voltage and current ratings are correct, but the HT is not. So it's 385 center tap. So 385, 385. And the stock one was 650 center tap, so 325, 325. So we'd be running high voltages across the board. I'm not sure if that would have exceeded some of those cap ratings possibly. But yeah, either way, it's not original. With a Super, it's probably not the end of the world as long as you've got a margin there for the caps. It'll just have a bit more headroom, but you probably want to change some of the dropping resistors in the power supply as a result. These things could be running a bit heavy down the line. So because this transformer's massive and they've had to cut and modify the chassis to fit it in, they've had to move the bias board. So they put that over there, and the shit show that you see here, it looks like they've capacitively coupled from the 380. Oh no, that's resistors, sorry. So they've got two resistors epoxied in series, and I can't read what value they are, but we can measure it. And they're massive fucking fuck off 10 watt resistors or 5 watt resistors. Look almost like 7 watts. But yeah, almost everything out here has been modified pretty poorly. So what do we got here? We've got 10k and probably another 10k. Yes. Oh no, 22k. All right, so overall we'll have like 32k. 25k? What? Is that got any other connection? Oh, hang on, I'm reading to ground. I'd have to lift that wire to figure it out. But yeah, so yeah, that's pretty rough. So I'm going to quote to put the original transformer back in. Well, he doesn't have it, but put an original transformer back in. We'll probably have to make an adapter plate for that enlarged cutout to be able to fit the original transformer back in. We're going to hit 3 out of the 4 mounting bolts, I believe. I probably really need to remove it to see if there's going to be a gap under it. Yeah, I really want to reinforce that area, so I'll probably get a laser cut plate, like an adapter plate, just to seal it up and put probably a bit of Sikaflex on it, mask it up so it's like bolted and glued, so there won't be any rattles from the adapter plate. Make that out of like 1.2mm steel or stainless, probably is the best bet. Save us having to plate it or seal the edge up. And then do all the usual Fender stuff, as well as the stuff to the cabinet. So the cabinet structurally is sound, but like I say, the grill itself, the cloth itself, and the baffle kind of need to be replaced. And 2 out of the 4 speakers are fucked. So the 2 bottom speakers are okay. One of the top ones is fully open circuit, and the other one's got some severe voice coil rubbing. So we'll probably be up for a set of 4 new speakers. Reverb tank's got an open receiving coil, I believe. So almost everything in this thing's fucked. So it's sort of like, I said, look, are you going to keep it? And he goes, well, I bought it when I was 18. I'm like, yeah, okay, I understand. But there's a lot of work that needs to be done, man, and I kind of either want to do all of it or none at all because it's got my name on it, and I want it to be an example of what a super should be. Excuse me. So I reckon this was probably a, well, let's look at the voltage. Yeah, so this would have been a US import way back in the day, and they've converted it to 240 volts. Now, Ferguson transformers was a very common brand out here. They were used in all sorts of amplifiers, hi-fis, an Australian brand, and Henderson, not Ferguson, Henderson. So was I thinking Ferguson? Henderson transformers, are they Australian? Ferguson, Henderson. Henderson tube valve amplifier transformers. There's probably like a advertising sheet out there somewhere. Henderson PT. Okay, so they're all Australian sites, so I dare say, without doing heaps more research, I dare say Henderson was another Australian transformer manufacturer. I'm sure if Six is here, he could tell me. But yeah, we'll put a Hammond in there. I'm going to quote everything. New cord. The voltage selector thing's broken off. That's disconnected anyway, so I might just put a blanking plate over that, or just remove the switch and put a little one of those little rivet things, you know, these things. Hang on. One of them. You've seen them. They look like a little button from the outside. On the inside, they've got like little wings that extend out. So, yeah, another massive job. I've got a bunch of tweed ones I've got to get on. Vibro Champ just came in. I'll show you that one now. Pretty much everything that came in's Fender. What does that tell you? Oh, she smells funky. So this one had a big butter boom in the heater balance circuit. So I dare say we've got a shorted 6V6 and it's leaked HT to the heaters. But what I'll do is gently power it up with a variac and just see what voltage is on there and see if the voltage disappears once I remove the output valve, instead of possibly damaging the valve tester by testing it in there, because I'm not sure what mechanisms Dad installed in that valve tester to mitigate any HT on the heater. He may be able to enlighten me on that one. Phthalate oozing. Is it phthalates, is it? Because my shampoo, my beard of course, not my hair, well, it's still hair, is ensures me that it's phthalate free. Phthalate. It's fun to say, isn't it? The bias board looks like it's ready to catch on fire. Yeah, it's pretty rough, isn't it? Looks like a dog's brekkie. Epoxy instead of silicon, that's the first. Nah, I've seen it all, mate. Yeah, it definitely looks like araldite or something. Just real shitty epoxy. Just got a blonde basement head chassis and faceplate for an upcoming... Oh, did you buy that one? Oh no, where are you? You're in the Netherlands or something, aren't you, Pastor? I saw one for sale in the States and the shipping wasn't too bad. I was thinking, fuck, I could make a cabinet for that. But there is a... I was very tempted, but I better not. There is a 6G6B, 6G6B. No, it's all Texas. There's in Melbourne, there's a 6G6B piggyback cabinet and head for sale. Very tempted to go for a drive. But they want $5,000 for it, so yeah. What are the speakers in the cab? I can't remember the brand, but it's the Alnico things that are black. Sweden, yes, it was from US seller. Ah, we might have been looking at the same one. Huh. Oh, it's good it's going to a good home. Not to be ripped out and have a slow clone built in it or something. Cool as that would be. Yeah, so we might do this one. Have we got time? Yeah, we've still got 20 minutes. Just determine whether that short is from the valve. Just power it up very gently. We've got a solid state rectifier, so we can power it up with 2/3 of fuck all and be able to tell if it's that valve causing it. It's still raining. Talking down to 3K, yeah. I don't like doing that. If someone wants $5,000, I'll just ignore it. It's worth it, you know? World-class amp. Just plug it into the dummy load. We're not going to be giving any signal. We're only going to power it up for a fraction of a second, but just to keep you pedants happy. Alrighty then. Power on. Alright, what have we got on the heater lines? Oh, have we blown a fuse? We probably have blown a fuse. No, fuse looks good. Fuse test good. Let's check the HT then. Might be a mini fuse, Pico fuse. Yep, there we go. I'll just set it to beepy beepy mode because it's more impressive. Good. 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 Right, so the heater fuse is intact. The HT, I think it's the HTAC. Fuse is intact. So yeah, again, it goes back to Fender. Why the flippin' heck? Oh, solder dags on the board. Good old QC. Goes back to the fact of why the hell are they using carbon composition resistors for heater balancing that aren't fusible and not lifted off the board? Because if this happened, let's just unplug that. If this happened in one of my amps, for starters, the resistors would go open circuit in a fraction of a second and they wouldn't burn because they're fusible. But it would also lift them off the board a bit, so even if something happened and they did burn, it wouldn't damage the board underneath. There'd be no evidence that the problem ever happened. You'd replace the resistors, replace whatever caused them to fail, and you'd literally no one would be the wiser, except for the customer and you. But Fender just keep doing Fender shit, because Fender's Fender. It's not really hard to implement, you know, just lift them off the board. You've done it with that resistor there. So you know it's an issue with heat, because that one's lifted off the board. If you did that with the heaters, when something fails, it wouldn't damage the board. But I famously digress. Evening, Fletchers. How you going? What's going on? How the flippin' heck are you? Right, we're lifting the voltage up and nothing's happening, but our fuse is intact. Have we got a bad power transformer, champions? Switch on. Wax on, wax off. And 63 volts there. So we're getting the input. Yep. What are we getting on the output? We're getting 11 millivolts. AC winding. That's not good. No es bueno. We got a bad power transformer, champions. So I reckon let's test the resistance. I'll turn it off. Resistance of the primary. Because they have a internal fuse. 468K. No. Hang on, 468K. Yeah. She's hooper duped. Bad PT. Bugger. Yeah, that's the connection to the board, and then you got your various AC windings. And the one in question, there's no fuse other than the mains one on the IEC. How the fuck has it done that without blowing the fuse? Unless the customer's changed the fuse. Yeah. Let's take a quick photo of this because I don't have the color codes. Fuck, how do I do that? Find my phone. There it is. Why did they burn? Voltage, Wes. HT to heater short. That is the heater balancing. And got the timer from when I was doing happy snaps. So yeah, if you expose it to HT, you're going to blow them open circuit. It is better than having a grounded center tap because then you burn out your transformer, but it looks like that may have happened anyway. Open. 3.4. 1.8. Let's see the color codes in this. I think purple's common. Yeah, purple's common, and then neutral. Well, okay, so they're just P3 and P4 are just to connect the things to something for other voltages. So our active is connected to the knee bone, purple, and the black, the neutral is connected to, well, the neutral is connected to the black on the transformer because I can see the trace right there. It goes via the PTC to the black lead, and then there's a suppression cap to the neutral. So it's the black and purple in question, and they are fucking open circuit, bro. Nothing. Bad PT. Ba-bow. Alright, so not a cheap repair. What's one of these go for? We'll just look up a Hammond. Hammond. Vibro Champ. Vibro Chap. $245. Fucking hell. Oh no. I'll look up Vibro Champ and then all I get is videos of myself from Google. Well, let's see what they are on Mouser. 290. Yeah, it doesn't look identical. It's got the connections. Sorry, hang on. Let me just share the screen. 245. Man, transformers are expensive, dude. That looks different. That's for the Vibro Champ XD, so that's got, yeah, that's got different voltages. So this is a Vibro Champ reverb amp. Suitable for a large rang. Well, that's me. A large ranger. 291 AEX. That's showing a different one, but yeah, that's just indicative. Okay, so what have we got? We've got heater. But we've got we do have another center tap voltage, and we've got no no valve rectifier, so it might be this one. Yeah, 9 volt. So it's probably that, but I'll confirm that. And this has got the different windings. Brown. Come on, zoom function. Why ain't you working? There we go. Brown. But this one has a center tap on the brown, so that's probably no good either. There, you got me? Transmitter just went dead, sorry. What was I saying? Yeah, so now the gain's too high. The gain is set the same on these two units. Fuck's sake. I made sure of that. Go minus 12 dB. 15? Minus 15? Minus 15? Yeah, that's right. How do I sound? Minus 12? Minus 12. Sorry, the transmitter went dead. I thought the receiver went dead before the transmitter, but no, the transmitters die first. There you go. Oh, I might be dealing Rode soon too. The Rode Mackie rep came around because now Rode owns Mackie. So Mackie will get a lot better a lot quicker because Rode's a much better company than whoever the fuck owned Mackie before. So that's cool. Mackie's a little bit consumery though. Not really keen to sell a lot of their stuff. But getting Rode would be nice because Rode do some cool stuff. And plus, you have access to parts then. Anyway, what was I saying? Schematic, yes. Seven minutes, champion, 7 minutes. Sorry, it's been mainly a chat stream, but I think it was good to catch up with everyone and just have a good little chat and good little Q&A sesh. I tried to do some of them when we were away, but for some reason, no one really watched the videos when I'm not in the workshop. When I'm out and about, they're just not interested. They like seeing me in the workshop for whatever reason. Why is that, you reckon? Maybe it's a sign in the background. Orange whip, 3 orange whips. That's what we used to say at the pub when there was 3 of us at the bar. If you just wanted the same beer you had previously, you just say orange whip, 3 orange whips. And it became code word for just give us 3 of what we just had. Sometimes the parts amp is cheaper than the parts. Yeah, pretty sad, isn't it? did not buy a complete 6G6B, just a newly manufactured chassis and brown faceplates. Right, gotcha. I already have some rough brown Tolex, if you know what I mean. I think you do, yep. No, we've got sound now. It's alright. Just got to catch up. Yeah, John Candy, bro. That's it. I'm getting every John Candy joke. Go buy a rat to gnaw that thing up your face. Yeah, I love John Candy. Such a wholesome dude. Vibrochamp? Right, which is the actual model of this one? So this is a 68 custom Vibrochamp reverb. 68, well, can't they just give it a number? 68 custom. Reissue? I don't know. I'll look up my champ folder. Here you go, champ! There it is. Okay, so there was a Vibrochamp reissue, which is probably the blackface one, without reverb. Why make a Vibrochamp with reverb? Bro, just, it's a practice amp. I don't know. Okie dokie. Okie dokie. Schematic time. Here we are. Champions. Power supply. Alrighty then. Okay, so we've got plus minus 9 volts. So that's the 9 volt winding. So that's the one that's supposed to have a center tap. And that's all they show. You got 1, 2, 3 sets of secondaries. So the XD, sorry, the one that suits the XD is not suitable. Fuck, when did this come out? Maybe there's no transformer for it. 2020. Ugh. Ugh. Might be a dead duck, champions. If we've got an open, so here's your fuse. See that? That's the internal fuse in the windings wrapped up in the transformer. And we're measuring black to, oh, hang on, black to, oh no, that's the, yeah, that's the domestic. What we're measuring is violet is the common that's got the fuse on it to black. So violet to black is 240 volt, which is our voltage. It's officially 230 here, but it's always 240. So things come out 240 and it says 240 on the chassis. So as we're measuring violet, which is going to be open to everything, even, no one go there. Violet to black, open. We were measuring like 400K or something. That was probably, actually that would have been my fingers on the probes, yeah. Completely open circuits to everything. Yeah, so we've got an open circuit thermal fuse. I don't really want to entertain it, but you can sometimes unwrap it and access them and replace it with the same unit, which is down here, 139 rated. So that's a possibility, and there's probably nothing wrong with the transformer. But having said that, the transformer's gotten to that temperature in that area to justify blowing that. Look, there's every chance, champions, that we're looking at two separate faults here. I'm wondering if a bad valve earlier in the amp's life caused a heater to cathode short somewhere. That's blown these two resistors wide open. It says they're fusible, FP100, but I don't think they haven't used fusible resistors, man. So they're not using the resistors that they said they have, because FP means fusible, I believe. Oh, there's probably a parts list in here. Let's have a look. No? Okay. that's occurred earlier in the amp's life, and the owner probably put a new valve in there and carried on his merry way, albeit with no ground balancing and therefore a lot of hum. But probably used it anyway because he is a noise rock player, so he probably didn't even care. This is just like my theory. And then later on, just the temperature of the transformer has caused this to go open circuit, possibly just because the transformer's borderline rated for its job. And yeah, maybe that's it. 120 volts, 60 hertz. And then it says 50/60 hertz. Okay. That's so good. Bugger. Well, that's a bit of a showstopper. Alright, well now we've got the model of the amp, the 68 custom. Let's look up flameproof. Oh, failure prone, yeah. Flameproof. Clearly not flameproof because they have flamed up fucking good. So they're not using the resistors that they have specified themselves. Yay, Fender. Fender 68. I don't know what their obsession with 68 is. All their amps are fucking 68 custom. Custom vibro champ reverb trademark. Transformer. There are no results anywhere on Google. Yeah, great. Oh yeah, it's just a lot of other forum entries of fried transformer, failed transformer. Well, that's cool. Can 68 vibro champ power transformer be rewound? My fucking hell. Okay, don't buy. This is why I keep telling you guys not to buy Fender. Look at the forums, man. 68 custom vibro champ reverb fried transformer. Can it be rewound? Vibro champ reverb fried. I guess they're a popular amp. Vibro, Fender Princeton reverb, vibro champ reverb. So I'm going to need to find a transformer that's suitable, or I'm going to have to test this one, get it rewound, or replace that fuse. But yeah, it's probably failed because it's underrated. So it's probably an amp that needs to go in the bin, just like pretty much all Fender amps. So on that bright note, champions, I'm going to head off because it's time to open the shop. I need to get some guitar work done, and that's on the opposite bench. So I might leave you there. I'll go put some background music on and try and get in the zone. But thanks for joining us again. Happy New Year and welcome back. And I'll try and keep these going regularly and go from there. So until then, where's the camera? There it is. Take it squeezy. Be good to your mother or someone else's mother or whatever. Drink lots of water. Even when it's raining, champions. Play in the snow. Don't eat the yellow snow, etc., etc. All right, take it easy. Have a good one.